This is True Crime Talk tonight. We're going to be going over a few of the ongoing cases from Gilgo Beach to the Idaho 4. Whatever case you guys want to hear, this is going to be a question and answer segment as well. And I'm going to be having a couple of special guests with me tonight. So let's talk about the Long Island serial killer case. Some new stuff has come out about file carving. They found a whole bunch of stuff in his hard drive from kill kits, how to set up kill kits, how to get away with murder, how to dissect the human body. Is really, really very interesting.
I'm Vinny Politan. Thank you so much for joining us this hour. I am just telling you up front, we're going to get into some details that were revealed connected to the suspected Long Island serial killer. Some of it is gruesome, is tough, but it's the reality. It's the reality of this case right now, where we're learning a whole lot more. He was back in court today. He's in New York, so you're not going to get video cameras, but there were some still photos taken of the accused killer inside court today. In the meantime, I want you to take a listen to the DA who spoke and gave us an idea of what they've uncovered and how they have now connected this accused killer to even more people. Take a listen.
We have an individual who we are alleging, and again, these are allegations, meticulously planned and executed 6 separate murders.
6 murders, not 3, not 4. We're up to 6. I don't think the number's going to stop there. I think there's a whole lot more, and we learned a whole lot more today.
We're here today to announce additional charges in the case against the defendant Rex Uhrman. Obviously, at the onset, I will say these are just allegations. The indictment has just been filed. The district attorney's office filed a superseding indictment charging the defendant with 2 additional murders. Those charges pertain to the 1993 murder of Sandra Castilla and the 2003 murder of Jessica Taylor. So that's in addition to the previously charged murders of Maureen Brainerd Barnes, Melissa Barthelemy, Megan Waterman, and Amber Costello, which occurred in 1997, 1999, June of 2010, and September of 2010, respectively. With regard to Jessica Taylor, that her body was recovered on July 26, 2003, off of just west of Halsey Manor Road in Manorville. She was found on her back. She was decapitated, and her hands and arms were severed just below the elbows. Notably, her a tattoo that she had been obliterated with a sharp object. 8 years later, her arms and skull were found on Ocean Parkway. Those remains were found on the same side of the road on the Ocean Parkway as the Gilgo 4. They were found less than a mile away from the remains of the Gilgo 4, and all of the 5 remains were located within 50 feet of the roadway. And I think you see that the graphic on page 5 of our bail document illustrates that. Jessica Taylor was last seen July 19th in New York City. She was working as a sex worker. We know from a number of from our investigation from a number of financial records and other records that the defendant, Rex Uriman, was in New York City on July 19th. Jessica Terlo last spoke to her mom on July 21st. And then that was about 8:41 p.m. Then less than 2 hours later, her phone call made its last outgoing call. And we heard no more from Jessica or from her phone. The family alerted law enforcement on July 25th when she failed to return to her home for her mom's birthday. And then shortly thereafter, on July 26th, Jessica's body was recovered. With regard to the hairs found in this case, Jessica Taylor was found laying atop a surgical drape. A male hair was found between the body and the drape. That was recovered back in 2003. In 2023, we brought that hair was brought to the mitochondrial testing lab for mitochondrial DNA analysis, and was able to the results of that was able to exclude 99.96% of the population, but not Rex Uriman, the defendant. With regard to the 1993 discovery of Sandra Castilla, again, on November 20th, 1993, two individuals while hunting in that wooded area of Southampton in the vicinity of Old Fish Cove Road in Northsea discovered her body. She was lying on her back with her arms outstretched over her head. Her legs were uncovered and her shirt was pressed over her head. The victim suffered numerous sharp force injuries, 25 in all, which we believe were post-mortem. And these were injuries to her face, torso, breasts, left thigh, and in her vaginal area.
Now, we've also learned a lot more from notes from the defendant, his process for doing all this. And we're going to go through it, but I need some help. So joining us tonight, psychologist and author of The Minds of Mass Killers, Understanding and Interrupting the Pathway to Violence, Siobhan Scott is with us. Also joining us, serial killer expert, criminologist, author of the book, Why We Love Serial Killers, and the star of the one-man show, Serial Killers, with Dr. Scott Bond. Dr. Scott Bond.
Hello, Ms. Nina. And you're muted.
I am muted. Sorry. I always come in muted. I just think it's the polite thing to do, but I always forget to unmute myself.
So what do you think about the Gilgo Beach serial killer case?
Have we not hung him yet?
No, we have not hung him yet.
Really? I'm going to be honest. I mean, I have watched, different things about it and everything, but I have to say that I really haven't kept up with it. But I mean, I from everything that I've seen, I mean, I don't know. Seems pretty guilty to me, but why have they not done anything to the wife yet?
I do not know.
I mean, that's what makes me wonder. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I find it really odd that she doesn't know anything.
Well, see, just like BTK's wife. Yeah, he 30 years. He was murdering people, and
Right.
she never knew what he did.
Right. Well, I guess that's true.
I mean, even his own daughter. I mean, didn't know what he did until 2004 when he was finally caught. And,
Yeah. Now I have followed her, and I mean, I've heard a lot of her interviews and stuff where she said that, she thought they were just a normal family.
Yeah. See, that's just how the sociopath works.
Right.
Yeah. Serial killer by day, and then blending in normal normal person.
Right.
Serial killer by night, normal person by day.
Well, I guess that's true. I mean, I guess if everybody knows you're doing it, you wouldn't be very good at it.
Yeah. And see, just like everyone thought that Brian Brian Koberger was the clone of BTK. BTK has came out and said that no, it wasn't. Yeah, he called him the guy in Idaho.
Right. Yeah, and I knew BTK had said, that Brian Koberger, that they had no kind of contact, no kind of communication or anything like that.
Yeah. He said the guy in New York is his clone.
Uh-oh, I think I'm losing you or you're losing me one.
No, I'm still here. I need to turn my mic off.
Maybe I should go out and come back in because all I'm hearing is static. I'm hearing static and a beep.
Is that better? Let me see. Is that better, Miss Nina?
Hello? No, I gotta figure this out.
Is that better?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. There you are.
Hi.
I was hearing static and beep, and I was like, okay, what's going on with this?
But no, he said, BTK said that the guy in New York, which is Rex, is his clone. And
wow.
yeah, from what I've been hearing, BTK isn't long for this world because he's almost in his 80s. He's not taking showers. He's refusing to eat. So he's probably not going to last that. He's probably not going to last that much longer. And BTK is actually locked up not very far from where I live. He's locked up 24 miles from Wichita in El Dorado Supermax.
Yeah, bless his heart. I'm sorry he's having such a rough life. That was sarcasm, sorry.
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I guess when they get that old and stuff like that, you start saying, oh, bless their heart, but I guess that's that Southern thing. I'll pray for him.
Is with us. Thank you both for being here. First headline for me today was connecting this man to a murder back in 1993. Siobhan Scott, your thoughts about that, going back that far? Are you surprised? Because I think he's probably about 29, 30 years old around that time.
Yeah, it actually doesn't surprise me because what we know about serial killers is they often start in their 20s, sometimes earlier, but these are fantasies that they're enacting, and the fantasies start often in childhood or in their early teens. And when they have those angry, sadistic, sexual fantasies that go on for years and years, yeah, it wouldn't surprise me that he started at that age.
And Scott, I'm thinking about the way this was discovered, how it started in Gilgo, but then they have to put pieces of a body together. We're talking about scattered remains here. And I think what we're really learning is that he thought about this. This was not spontaneous stuff. There was a plan.
Absolutely. You have an individual here that falls into a category of serial killer known as an organized power and control killer. So this is a meticulous planner. And as I think you know, Vinny, I profiled this unknown killer for the New York Times newspaper back in 2011, and I predicted that he would be meticulous, highly trained, and educated. And if you think about it, he's an architect, right? He's trained in engineering, mathematics, design. Who has to be more meticulous in their organization than an architect? And he's used those same skills in both the abduction, killing, and disposal of his bodies.
Now, something that was revealed in some of the papers that were filed in court today, what they uncovered from the suspect, we got to put this up on the screen. This is like his pre-prep, prep, and post-event, like checklist that he had. Pre-prep, vehicle inspection, engage T1, which was target 1, recon for DS1, dump site 1, locate DS2, weather report, recon for video cameras, meaning surveillance videos, recon the pickup zone for the video cameras, then the prep, set up the stage, a holding area, build a table, crossbar, hard point, then the post-event, he refers to it. And he's also misspelling words here, which is fascinating. Destroy the file, change the tires, burn the gloves, dispose of pictures, have the story set.
That is truly, truly a calculated mind.
That's just scary right there. And why would you write that stuff down?
It was all in his hard drive.
Okay, why would you put it in hard drive or anything like that? I mean, that's just crazy.
Yeah. It just shows you how warped and twisted his mind is, that he even had files for kill kits in his hard drive.
Wow. Alrighty then. I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess if I was going to do something like that, I dang sure wouldn't leave the cookie crumbs behind.
No, I wouldn't leave the cookie crumbs behind either, because how they found the files is something called a file carving. It's where they isolate certain files in your hard drive.
Right. I guess Twizzle Stick's right. You're already caught if they have your hard drive.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Looking at these checklists, what jumps out to you, Siobhan?
The obsessive attention to detail. You know, we sometimes think that these guys are getting their pleasure out of the actual murder. Well, they actually get pleasure in the planning phase, and they get pleasure in the post-murder phase as well. And so this is something that makes me think this guy spent an inordinate amount of time thinking about this and planning, and he had this obsessive quality to his personality.
Scott, what did you learn going through his checklist here?
Well, similar to what Dr. Scott said, you have an individual here who is absolutely obsessed with the planning phase, and rightfully, as she said, I don't believe it was the killing per se that was the ultimate thrill. It was all of the anticipation that went into it. And so he's like a power and control killer on steroids. I mean, he's even more of a planner than BTK was. And BTK also would plan and make drawings and anticipate and fantasize about his murders. And by the way, BTK also, his correspondence, especially with me, was fraught with misspellings. So there's an interesting little parallel there as well. So yeah, this is a man for whom this was an all-consuming process and lifestyle. This was his great work. In his mind, I'm sure that this was the body of a great work for which, in his psychopathic mind, I'm sure he is truly proud.
You know, I'm looking at this prep part, and to me, it sounds scary what he may have done to these victims. Set up stage, holding area, build a table, crossbar, and a hard point. I don't necessarily know what's going on here, but it sounds absolutely horrific, Dr. Scott.
Yeah. We're talking about somebody who was into sadistic torture. And I think if we saw this in a horror movie, we would say, oh, that could never happen in real life. Nobody could be that sadistic. And this is just absolutely horrendous. As a woman, it horrifies me that there are people like this that can walk among us and have wives and kids and appear normal. You know, it affects the way we all move through the world.
Dr. Bond, I want to put this up on the screen. This is his takedown pickup, as it's referred to. Hunt too long, seen in area too long. Remember, don't charge gas. Recon for vid cams in pickup area next time. He doesn't want to get caught. I mean, that's super clear here, right? You're thinking this through. Sometimes we think these people want to get caught. He doesn't want to get caught.
No, absolutely.
Chat, what do you think about this case? He doesn't want to get caught.
Now, Robert, I got a question. From everything that I just heard, do you think that he did it more for the planning and the thrill of the planning it and everything? Or do you think it was more for the kill?
It could be a mixture of both. Twizzlesticks just said he was writing letters to BTK too.
Oh, wow.
So maybe BTK is right. Maybe Rex Hauerman is his clone.
Right.
He could have been doing it for the thrills of the planning it, or he could have been doing it for the thrills of the kill, or both.
Right. Well, I mean, apparently he was like BTK with the torture too. So, I mean, a sadist is not anybody to play with.
Yeah. BTK stood for bind, torture, and kill.
Right.
It was also his alias when he was writing letters, Bill Thomas Killman.
Huh. I never knew that.
Yeah. But by night he was BTK. By day, he was mild-mannered Dennis Rader.
Right. I don't know how you separate the two, but he was obviously pretty good at it. He got away with it for years.
Yep. And what his undoing was back because he killed from 1974 to 1991.
Right.
And what his undoing was he read an article in the Wichita Eagle Beacon where this local college professor was going to write a book about BTK because none of his students knew who BTK was.
Right.
Because so much time had passed, and the threat of BTK was in the past because he had been dormant from 1991 to 2004. So when Dennis Rader read that in the paper, it infuriated him because he didn't want anybody else telling the story of his life.
Yeah.
And
what caught him? His hard drive.
Well, a floppy disk.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the computer caught him.
Yeah. And what was weird was it wasn't weird. It was BTK. They found a cereal box. It was supposed to be the BTK put a cereal box in the back of this pickup truck at a Home Depot here in Wichita. Well, the worker got off, saw it in the back of his truck, thought it was trash, so he took it and threw it in his trash can at home. Then they went off on vacation. But luckily, the trash didn't come that week, so the police went to the house, got the cereal box out of the trash, and what was in the cereal box was was a Barbie that was bound and tied and had a noose around his neck, and the ID of his second victim, Nancy Fox. The actual driver's license of Nancy Fox was in that cereal box, and Nancy Fox was killed in 1976.
Yeah.
So he held on to that keepsake, memento, whatever you want to call it, what a serial killer keeps trophy, could be the right word, trophy.
Right.
He kept that ID of one of his second victim for nearly 40 years. And I would like to know where he kept it at. In his attic, if there was an outdoor shed. I mean, yes, he was married and he had 2 kids. It just goes to show you exactly what type of sociopath he was. You know, serial killer by night, mild-mannered person by day, and clearly he had to have that hidden somewhere.
Right.
Yeah, for his wife and his kids not to find. I mean, he could have buried it in the backyard, you know, for all we know.
He may have kept it at the church.
Yeah, and he was the president of his local church,
Right.
Christ Lutheran Church, and which is ironic, is less than 5 miles from my house where I live.
Oh, wow. That's got to be a little eerie.
Yeah, see, I live on the north side of Wichita. I have a friend of mine that lives in Park City. And
Oh, okay.
she Googled Dennis Rader's house, which the house is not there anymore.
Another
they tore
house
that
torn
back.
down.
Yeah. Well, they tore that back. They tore that down back in the late 90s, early 2000s.
Right.
But she Googled the address to the house, and it's less than 2 miles from where she lives. And see what is kind of ironic. Dennis Rader's fifth. You know, the first victims was it was a family of 6, but only 4 were killed. It was Joseph Otero, Josie Otero, Joseph Otero Jr., and then Josephine Otero. And the 2 older kids were at school that day, but they came home to find their mom, their dad, the little brother, and the little sister murdered. It just goes to how sick and twisted BTK was. They found Josephine Otero down in the basement, hanging by a pipe, and they mind you, this was the 70s, so there was no DNA testing or DNA anything back in the early 70s. So they collected semen from the floor around Josephine's body, and since they didn't have DNA testing or anything like that, or IgG or anything, so that sat for 30 years in a police evidence locker. And then you had Nancy Fox, who was the second victim.
Right.
And BTK actually called the police. He called 911, and there's a recording of his voice giving the address to where to find Nancy Fox. And then there was Shirley Vian, who was killed in front of her kids.
Yeah,
And then there was
that one's pretty sad.
Yeah, and then there was Vicky Wagerly, who was killed with her 2-year-old in the living room. Then there was Catherine Bright, who was killed. And he actually shot her brother, Kevin Bright, in the head, because Catherine and her brother Kevin had came home. BTK was already in the house, and he bound Kathy Bright up. He bound Kevin Bright up. He shot Kevin Bright in the head, but some miraculous miracle, Kevin survived. And as he was strangling Kathy Bright, Kevin got up and ran out the front door with a gunshot wound to the head. Now, Maureen Hedge was his neighbor. His neighbor. She lived like 4 houses.
Is that the one that he would go in her house when she was at work?
Yes. Yeah, she lived 4 houses down from him, and he even left her a note stating, "Sorry, I missed you." But he ended up actually strangling her, and then posed the body of him standing there in bondage next to the body, and then Dolores Davis, which was the last one, which was in 1991. This goes to show you how sick and twisted Dennis Rader was. He took her body to the church he was the president of, and posed her body and took pictures, and then took her body out by this local bridge by his house and dumped the body, and then would go out to that bridge, even after she'd been dead a week and she was decomposing. He would have sex with the dead body.
Oh, that's yucky.
Yeah, very yucky.
In fact, that's one of the great, I frequently talk about myths and debunking myths when it comes to serial killers. And that's one of the great ones, is that they somehow secretly want to get caught. No, they don't. They love killing. This is his great work. As I mentioned before, he doesn't want to get caught, and clearly he's learning, he's evolving, he's getting better at it over time, and that's the hallmark of an individual like this. They will evolve. They may learn, for example, that if they start out by trying to tie up their victims, it becomes too difficult with rope. So maybe they evolve and start to use handcuffs. So you see here in his own correspondence and chilling diary almost, that he is an evolving individual and an evolving killer, which is particularly chilling.
Okay, our experts are staying with us. When we come back, perhaps the most disturbing thing that we learned, which is what he referred to as his body prep of his victims. We'll take a look at that and the search of his home and what they found inside.
This is an innocent woman. She didn't do it. It's a controversial case that's divided a community.
Karen Reed is accused of murdering her police officer boyfriend.
Prosecutors say she ran him over on purpose and left him to die in the cold.
But Reed claims that she's being framed.
It smells suspicious.
After years of legal fireworks, will the truth finally be revealed?
The end game is to figure out who killed John O'Keefe and hold these people responsible.
The Killer or Cover-Up Murder Trial. Live coverage weekday mornings, only on Court TV.
The task force believes that this is a planning document, and it was utilized by Uriman to methodically blueprint and plan out his kills with excruciating detail. We allege that this document evinces the defendant's intent in committing the charged crimes, that his intent was specifically to locate these victims, to hunt them down, and to bring them under his control and to kill them.
These new details from this handbook, or whatever you want to call it, from the accused Long Island serial killer is disturbing. What I'm going to go through right now, perhaps the most disturbing part of it all, and it's the body prep of his victims. Okay, let's put it up on the screen. Wash the body inside and all cavities. Remove trace evidence, fingerprints / hair. Remove trace DNA. Remove ID marks, tattoos, and marks. Here's the one. Remove marks from torture. All these women were tortured. Remove head and hands. Package for transport. Let all this sink in for a moment. What we're talking about here, about what he is doing to his victims. Still with us, Dr. Siobhan Scott, author of The Minds of Mass Killers, and Dr. Scott Brown, who has an incredible one-man show. He's traveling and touring right now. You need to check out Serial Killers with Dr. Scott Bond. This body prep, Dr. Bond, this, to me, it says he's doing all the things that we suspected he was doing, but he's come up with a way to try to erase any evidence of it ever happening.
That's absolutely true. And as as I mentioned before, serial killers are not all the same. Some of them will dispose of a body and they don't care about whether or not there's trace evidence or physical evidence available. This is a guy, as an organized, highly meticulous power and control killer, who wanted to erase any trace of his involvement. And this just demonstrates the nature of his pathology and his psychopathy, that he would go to such an extent in his planning, even more so than BTK. I'm very familiar with with Dennis Rader. He's also a power and control killer, also a sadist, also a torturer. But I would say that Heuermann appears to have gone to even greater lengths than Rader, which is almost mind-boggling.
Dr. Scott, washing all the cavities and then removing ID marks like tattoos. He doesn't want the victims to necessarily be identified.
Yeah. It was interesting to me in this report, this document that came out, that he was basically a John Douglas, the author of Mindhunter, the former FBI profiler. He was a fanboy of his and was reading his books and his material. And I think sometimes, when we read things and we think, oh my God, this is horrible, we have to keep in mind that there are certain kinds of people who are reading the same thing and they're using it to get ideas, or they're using it to become better criminals. So that, I thought, was also chilling about this.
Now, I'm going to go through a list of items that were recovered from the home, and listen closely, and I'm going to ask both of you, what from this list really kind of jumps out to you. So you've got 15 different types of cameras recovered, 27 computers, 58 internal hard drives, 22 external hard drives, 46 cell phones, 9 Wi-Fi routers, 44 SD microcards, 17 tablets, 42 USB devices, 8 laptops, 50 hotel cards, 4 GPS devices, 11 music devices, 36 SIM cards, 33 miscellaneous items, and 647 CD floppy disks, VHS, or miscellaneous tapes.
That is a lot of electronics recovered.
Was he a hoarder?
No, that was all of his instruments of his murders.
Oh my gosh. I mean, that just seems like somebody that's kept their stuff for 40 years. Even before the summer. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's ridiculous.
48 USB devices, 8 laptops, 50 hotel cards, 4 GPS devices, 11 music devices, 36 SIM cards, 33 miscellaneous items, 647 floppy disks, VHS or miscellaneous tapes.
I'm with Bonnie. He made too much money.
15 different types of cameras, 27 computers, 58 internal hard drives, 22 external hard drives, 46 cell phones, 9 Wi-Fi routers, 44 SD microcards, and 17 tablets. He was very dedicated to the kill or the tracking or whatever he was doing.
Yeah, see, that's the reason. I mean, with all of that to me says that the planning and the, just the dynamics, I guess, of the planning and putting it together was really something that he really, thrived on.
Yeah, like BTK thrived on the hunt,
right,
and the kill. Apparently, Rex thrived on voyeurism and checking areas to make sure there wasn't no CCTV or video cameras or anything.
Wow. That's pretty crazy. But like Twizzlestick said, he's been doing it for years, so I guess that would make sense because you would be switching everything up all the time, so that's how you would accumulate all that.
Oh yeah.
Can you imagine what they've got on him?
Oh yeah. Oh, I know.
I want to see the person that comes out and says he's innocent.
Yeah, he's very sick and very. I know it is innocent until proven guilty, but there's a lot of damning evidence on him. I mean, just look at that. There's all this damning evidence on him.
Do you think he'll take a plea?
I don't even know if it's a death penalty case.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, even with a plea, he's going away for life anyway.
Yes. More than likely 6 consecutive life sentences.
Oh, yeah. I mean, well.
Dr. Scott, I'll let you go first.
I'm just absolutely fascinated to know what is he recording with all of this. What other evidence are they going to discover or have they discovered? Obviously, again, his tendency to be obsessive. I understand he had over 300 guns. I mean, this guy collected.
Dr. Bond, we have about 30 seconds here. What are your thoughts about this list of what was recovered?
Well, the need to document, this, once again, this is his life's great work. He needed to document it. He needed to have it for himself and to prove to the world just how grandiose and wonderful his work is. So it's his grandiosity that really jumps out, and the need to document and be a historian.
Dr. Siobhan Scott, Dr. Scott Bond, incredible insight. Thank you both so much. We appreciate your time. We'll speak again. When we come back, we're going to continue on this story. We're going to speak with the attorney for the children that were living inside that house next.
There was children living in the home?
I didn't think there were minor children, were there?
I think they were minor children.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I thought all of his kids were gone. But, if you think about it, for him to want all that documented and everything to where he wants everybody to know how great he is and stuff like that. What does that really say about his insecurity? You know, I mean, if you're, you know, if you that you've got to prove to everybody that, hey, I'm the greatest killer and the greatest planner ever, what does that really say about your psyche?
It means that you're insecure.
Right. I mean, that's a whole hell of a lot of insecurity.
Yeah, a whole hell of a lot of insecurity.
I mean, but you know, he was sort of one of those. I mean, but he was with one of those big old galoots. I mean, you know, he's a big man.
Yeah, like a really big man.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's like, which way did they go, George? Which way did they go? I mean, so I'm sure that he's had his share of bullying and, you know, stuff like that in his lifetime. And I'm not like, you know, oh, my heart bleeds for him or anything like that. But, you know, they always say we are what people make us, you know.
Yeah.
This is what this case is about. We don't ever forget that. This case is about the victims and their families, and hopefully providing them with that small measure of closure. And you know, the families have been, you know, nothing short of incredible. The way that they continue to support their loved ones and each other is really inspiring to us and really helps us to keep coming in and working this case as aggressively as we've been doing.
So as we learn more details about this suspected serial killer, I mean, we have to continue to keep in mind that these are real people, real victims, real lives that were taken. We're talking about torture. And now these families are learning many more details as we're learning all of these details. This is real. Like, this is not something that we're watching on a movie or a television series. This is actually happening. As hard to believe as it is, as we learn these details. Now, another part of this story, another huge part of this story, is that this accused killer had a family. Still has a family, but trying to put this together, like, how does that work? Well, here's a statement from Asa Ellerup, the estranged wife, that was released today. Let me put it up on the screen and read it for you. Today's indictment further illustrates that Asa Ellerup has no involvement in any of the alleged crimes that her estranged husband, the accused killer, has been charged with. Ms. Ellerup married the accused killer in 1996. She was not residing with the accused killer in Massapequa Park domicile in 1993, the year Ms. Costella was murdered. Moreover, according to the government, at the time of the death of Ms. Taylor, Ms. Ellerup was once again not in the jurisdiction. As we have previously stated, if the accused killer committed these homicides, he was living a double life that Ms. Ellerup was unaware of. After 27 years with the accused killer, Ms. Ellerup maintains the belief that her estranged husband is not capable of committing these heinous acts. And all this still in light of the charges, the basis of the charges, things that were taken from the home, all of this, still not believing that he is capable of it. Joining us right now in Stony Brook, New York, family law attorney and the attorney representing the children of the accused killer, Ves Midtev is back with us. Ves, thanks so much for joining us tonight. I'm sure it's been an extremely busy day. Everyone's calling you, everyone's knocking your door, so we do appreciate you coming on. Reaction to these new developments?
So what do you think so far about the serial killer case, Nina?
Well, I mean, like I said, I really haven't studied it or anything. I've, studied serial killers and stuff. I think the very first book I ever read was Helter Skelter about Manson. And, I think I've read every Anne Rule book. And I don't know if you've ever read Joe McGinnis about Michael McDonald and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, serial killers have always interested me, not for the kill, but what made them tick. And, because I don't think serial killers are born. I think that they're made. And I don't know how crazy that is, but that's how I feel about it.
All right. Well, Nina, I want to thank you for joining me tonight. I need to make room for another special guest that's coming.
All right.
And I just want to say thank you so much for coming up and sharing some of your insights.
Well, I'm sorry I wasn't very knowledgeable.
Oh, it's okay.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. We love Nina on this channel.
Well, I love you, Robert, and I'm always here to support you.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Murder trial starts right now.
There was no court today, and if you're keeping count, you know Monday will mark week 7 of the testimony in the Karen Read case, and it is still in the hands of the Commonwealth tonight. Thank you for joining us. For Canton Confidential, I'm Glenn Jones. JC Monahan has the night off. Let's get you caught up. So far, the prosecution has called 55 witnesses. There are 87 names on its witness list. This week, the jury heard from 5 of those people. That includes forensic scientists, as well as a state police lieutenant and sergeant. A large portion of this week's testimony focused on physical evidence. We saw new photos of the shards of apparent plastic from Karen Read's SUV taillight, new surveillance video from Canton PD, and the clothes John O'Keefe was wearing on the night in question. Despite all of that evidence, there are still a number of questions left unanswered, and you seem to agree. In the past 24 hours, we've received a massive wave of questions from people who have been following the trial and our coverage. So tonight, we're going to do our best to answer as many as we can. Kicking off our coverage tonight with some of the latest developments from Denham is our Eli Rosenberg. Eli, court was not in session today, but you still have some important updates.
And Glenn, one of the biggest questions hanging over this trial is, will he or won't he, when we talk about Michael Proctor, the lead detective with Mass State Police, possibly testifying in this trial? We now know he will. But talking with a defense attorney not associated with this trial at all, he says if Proctor was his client, he would tell him not to say much.
Jack.
It was another major moment in a trial full of them.
A mirror image, Sergeant, is not an accurate video of this, is it?
Objection.
Surveillance video in the Karen Read murder trial thrown into question. Read's attorney saying the video appears to be mirrored.
And the impact of this video is that they flipped the taillight from view. So the taillight at issue, the right rear taillight, is not visible.
And that is important because that taillight on Read's SUV remains the focus of intense scrutiny. Prosecutors say it cracked when Read hit her boyfriend, Boston police officer John O'Keefe, back in late January 2022. Read's lawyers counter, saying it happened here when she accidentally backed into O'Keefe's vehicle.
Is this thing about the mirrored video? It didn't have to be such a big deal. There may be a legitimate reason, but for him to allow them to spring it as a surprise and to cast doubt on everything they've heard with respect to the preservation of evidence inside the Sally Port, it's an inexcusable error.
This, as we've also learned from Read's lawyers, that Michael Proctor, the Mass State Police investigator who led the Read investigation, will be called as a witness by prosecutors. But a former New York City prosecutor says, based on what we've already learned in open court, from the search of Read's phone for compromising photos to text messages exchanged, if Proctor was his client, you wouldn't be hearing much from him when he's called to the stand.
If his lawyer believes that he's just going to tell the truth and he's being wrongfully attacked by the defense, so be it. I wouldn't be surprised in the least if his lawyer makes it clear to the court that he would make a blanket assertion of his Fifth Amendment right against self-incrimination on any substantive topic related to this case.
As the trial is wrapped for another week, Governor Maura Healey weighing in briefly during an event Friday afternoon.
You're the governor here, but you're also a resident. Are you following the Karen Read trial like so many people in the community here, getting updates like everyone seems so interested in it?
I've certainly followed it, but I'll leave that to others, and including MSP, to speak more about the trial.
So, do you think she guys did it, or do you think she's being railroaded and she's innocent? Let me know, chat, what you guys think. Do you think that Karen Read is innocent and she's being railroaded, or do you think she did it?
And since the start of the trial, prosecutors are not talking to the media while this case is ongoing, so we have not been able to ask them for their side. When we talk about that surveillance video from inside Canton, police court resumes here in Dedham on Monday. Glenn?
Eli, yesterday I was reading this motion from the Commonwealth, which is attempting to keep a certain witness of the defense team off the stand. Can you explain that to our audience?
Yeah, so this was a motion filed yesterday after court was done, and is related to a defense witness, a doctor who's planning to testify. Those marks on John O'Keefe's arm, those marks have been much debated, are consistent with an animal attack. Prosecutors said that she should not be allowed to testify. The defense wants to call her as a witness. So there's going to be a hearing on that first thing Monday morning. Another thing to watch as we enter what promises to be another busy week. Glenn?
I think the Commonwealth is going to argue that that witness was added too late. All right, Eli, let's see what happens on Monday. Back in studio now with us is local attorney Morgietta de Riziere. It's good to have you back.
Thank you.
Why don't we start on that last point? So prosecutors say, hang on, we object to this person being on the witness list because it wasn't disclosed at the start of the trial where most witness lists are disclosed. Do they have a point?
They do have a point, and especially when you're doing any type of litigation, but especially in criminal defense, it's not supposed to be a surprise. Everybody puts their cards out, and you're supposed to prove what you think you can prove. So presentation of late witnesses is actually unfair because you need to prepare. What if they wanted to depose them or ask them questions or investigate them and their credibility? So the prosecution has a really good point on that, and it's kind of unfair to the defense to put it forward now.
But the thing we can't gloss over here, Morgietta, is that this witness would testify about whether or not the injuries on John O'Keefe's arm could have come from an animal, maybe even a dog. That's a big question to get answered.
That's a huge question, and actually could be part of their defense, right? And part of their strategy. And I'm curious as to, what in pre-litigation happened as to why they didn't present that before. But that's key to the defense's case if there's another reason to explain some of these injuries, right? And I think it's going to be interesting how the judge rules on allowing this witness to testify so late in the game.
All right, that's something to look out for next week. Another big moment from this week was the inverted or mirrored video presented by the prosecution without noting that it had been flipped, right? Here's a question from one of our viewers on that point. This is Rhonda in Quincy. She says, with Thursday's testimony about the inverted and time-altered video of the Sally Port, is that reason for the case to be dismissed or mistrial declared? Doesn't altered or false evidence infringe on one's right to a fair trial, Morgietta?
So, this is a really, really important piece about conduct, right? So both sides, prosecution and defense, have rules of ethics that we're supposed to abide by. Mm-hmm. And what they're talking about is a grave injustice, that would be to Karen Read if in fact they had evidence, not only that was tampered, but tampered to their favor. So it's very possible they could get a dismissal or mistrial by misleading the jury, which is a huge no in criminal defense.
Even if it wasn't intended?
So here's the thing, intention is hard to prove, right? Sure, yeah. But they will be able to identify.
Well, hello, my other special guest.
Hey, you're the special guest. Yeah. We have other special guests that are coming.
Yes, we do. So what do you think about what's going on in the Karen Read case?
Well, I have not paid any attention to it. I thought that somebody else was going to be talking about it. But I'm sorry, Robert. I thought we were talking about Idaho 4. Because that's the only thing I know everything about.
Okay, well, we could talk about Idaho 4 until the other guests get here.
Okay.
So, so you watched the, did you watch the court hearing?
I did. That was super weird, right?
Yeah, especially with when Brett Payne was on the stand and Alyssa Hennings asked him, well, who told you to say this? And Brett Payne goes, you did.
Yeah, that's super weird. That was weird. That's like so not right. It's not right. It's like every single thing they do is jumbled, right? Like everything they do. Like Brett Payne said, well, I don't write my own reports. I find smarter people than myself to do that.
Yeah.
That was bad. That's such a bad thing to say.
And he's supposed to be the lead he's supposed to be the lead investigator on this case.
Yeah. Yeah. And he acted like he didn't know what he was talking about. It was weird. I was so confused. Like, why is this guy a cop? I mean, not that maybe he is a good, decent officer, but he's botched the hell out of this case, huh?
Oh yeah, especially when Mowry, when he was testifying, he threw everyone under the bus. And then you had Cy Ray testifying, and Cy Ray said that Mowry did the cast report or the draft of the cast report without using any cell tower data. Like, what the heck?
Yeah, that didn't make any sense. That's what the cell tower data is for, right? That is the whole point.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah, because Cy Ray stated that in order to build a cast report, you got to have the AT&T records and the cell tower data. And if you notice during the court hearing, not once did the prosecution ever cross-examine Cy Ray. Oh, well, we're not touching him. Oh, no. We're not touching him.
That's so weird. They didn't ask him any questions?
No.
What? Isn't he normally a prosecution? Like, isn't he normally for the prosecution?
Yes. Cy Ray stated in his testimony, in all of the court cases that he's been in, which is like close to 100 court cases, he's always testified for the prosecution. This is the first time ever he has testified for the defense.
Wow. Ever? How long has he been doing this? You were talking about him with Compros the other day. How long has he even been in this business?
Quite a long time.
Yeah, I don't question I don't question Cy Ray at all. I'm just curious, like, why they're not taking this opportunity to like really utilize some things that I would have thought would have been made more sense. Like, you would have thought the prosecution would have had at least a question, just a question, any question.
Yeah. At least one question. Heather Fitzgerald said since 2004.
Wow. That's crazy. Okay, so I mean that's 20 years, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a few minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, he's been doing this since 2004, and it shocked me to even see Bill Thompson towards the end of the hearing turning purple.
What?
Bill Thompson, throughout the whole thing, when Brett Payne was testifying, when Cy Ray was testifying, he never once looked up from his notepad.
Wow.
Then when Brett Payne, when he was asked, who told you to say this stuff, and when Brett Payne said you did to Alyssa Jennings, old Bill Thompson was turning purple in his seat. Like he was so mad at what Brett Payne just said, he turned purple.
Oh man, he must have been boiling. He was just boiling over there. That's too funny.
Well,
I didn't even see, I didn't even see Thompson. I wasn't even looking at Thompson because I was I honestly saw Brett Payne, Officer Payne, and I was like, what, like the whole time, because he just like was so unaccountable. Yeah. I just expect the guy to be genuinely accountable. I think this guy is in charge of a murder investigation. He must have his like wits.
Oh yeah. I mean he's the lead investigator in the case, but yet he seeks out more competent people to do his reports. Yeah, that was so funny. Yeah, he's the lead investigator in the case, but yet he seeks more competent people to do his reports and to tell him what to do. So what is he the lead investigator of? Of doing what people tell him to do? I see why now Steve Gonzalez is so freaking irritated with the state. Are you there? I think I lost one of our special guests.
Am I still here?
Yeah, you're still here.
Oops. What happened?
I don't know what happened.
Huh. Maybe they need to unplug it and plug it back in. I don't know. That's good advice, right? I think that's good life advice.
Yep.
Sometimes you just gotta unplug it and plug it back in. Yeah, I thought Brett Payne was pathetic, though. Like, you got Brett Payne, and you can't really put that up against Cy Ray, because Cy Ray is such a professional that it actually sadly made Brett Payne look like a rookie.
Yep.
Granted, I know, we both know, they've never done anything like this before. They may have done like murders. There's probably been murders in the Moscow area that even I don't know about. I'm sure that happens. I think there's some weird statistic, like one, so many 100,000 people in an area, somebody's, you know what I mean? Like so many people are murdered, like something weird like that. But I think that they've never done anything. Like let's just say Brian did it. Let's say that's how it happened, even though that's highly questionable. How do you think, like, if you've never, could you imagine the smell of just walking into that house? Like, those officers are probably so traumatized just from like stepping up to the house. Because I think it's got to smell so bad. It must smell so bad.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I know that not only did the blood stink, I know these people lost all their body fluids.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know how fast. So we got 8 hours, right? Did we look it up before? Did we look up before, like the smell of decomp, like how soon a body smells, like minus the body odor, body things, and minus the smell of blood, like body smell horrific. So when does that odor start? Because you know how people like hide a body in their car and they'll drive someplace and there'll still be a body in the car and they're looking for a place to get rid of said body and they'll go whatever. Like how long can the body last in there? How long does the body last before it stinks? Does anybody in chat know?
Yeah. Does anybody in chat know how long it takes for a decomp body to start smelling?
I thought Nina was still here. Where'd Nina go? She was like, I absolutely love that woman. She's fantastic. Have you watched her videos, Robert? She has her latest video was very good. I told you, you talk to her about it?
Not yet. I've kind of been unplugged from YouTube.
Right.
I took like a me day yesterday.
Good for you. You had no kid around. You just spend time with your lovely wife and just do you things.
Yeah, I actually went and picked my daughter up yesterday evening, and that's when I was that's when I was showing you the highway I took and stuff. But
oh yeah, what's that highway? What number is that highway again?
US 254.
Oh, okay, yeah, that looks familiar. So, what'd you do after you picked her up?
Went over to see my sister and my brother-in-law because my sister. We had the closing fireworks last night for Riverfest.
Oh, fun!
And,
that's so much fun when you're a kid! Yay! You're such a good day.
Well, I ended up taking my nephew and my sister because of the tubes in my daughter's ears.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, loud noises kind of freak her out.
Oh, I bet. Oh my gosh, Robert.
So she ended up staying home, and I took my sister and my nephew to the fireworks, and
she goes next year. You take your daughter next year.
Yeah. Well, I'm doing 4th of July at my house, so she'll get to shoot off sparklers and stuff like that. But, we got there because the start time was supposed to be 10:45. Well, we got there a little bit late, and I got like the last 5 minutes of the fireworks show, and it was like a 15-minute show, so I got there like the last 5 minutes. So I got the closing finale of the fireworks show on record.
Oh, that's good. That was nice of you to do. Then you can. Does your daughter when she go in to get like the first like check after the surgery? Because I know that she must be overwhelmed by being able to hear so well.
Yeah, well, she went in for her preliminary check about 2 weeks after the surgery. She goes in again in November.
Okay. There's Nina. I see you in chat, Nina. I did. I really loved her last show that she did. I don't know if we had dropped the link here. Let's see if I can do it. I'm on my cell phone. That always is hard. Connect 2 comments. Oh. I'm still here. It's still me. Oh, nope. It won't let me. Okay. It won't let me connect to comments, Nina. I'll try. I don't know how to drop a link. I'll drop a link through the YouTube. I'll go back on my iPad. No, like her video she put out the other day was, you know how you did that video on Sebastian,
Yeah.
he put out a video about his father. I thought it was his father, but you said stepfather, so maybe I was wrong. And was talking about.
Yeah, because his father is Seth. His stepfather is Chris Proudfoot. His dad is Seth Rogers.
Okay, because she put out a video, a really, really human video about how the father or stepfather. So tell me which one made the So I watched her video. My brain's so scattered tonight. Which one put out the GoFundMe?
I think that was his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
his dad Seth.
her video is pretty much all about like calling the dad to realize what his purpose is. That he shouldn't be out there getting aggravated with creators and doing all those things and taking money and buying things for himself. His only goal should be to be searching for his child, and that sort of stuff. And I thought the video was just excellent for what Nina has a lot of good information. I think comes from a good place, a good heart. She has a good heart when she speaks.
Yeah. The Maven said blood smell in minutes, decomp smell 24 hours, putrefaction 3 to 4 days.
Okay. So they wouldn't have smelled the bodies yet.
No, but they would have smelled the blood.
Oh yeah. Oh, putrefacition's a good word. Thanks, Maven. I don't know. Yeah, the bowels are usually released, but not always. That's interesting. That's just interesting, Heather and Maven. I didn't know that. Did you know that, Robert? That the bowels don't always release?
Yeah. I mean, I know sometimes the bowels released, but not all the time.
Right. Oh, interesting. I just assumed that the answer is yes, that the bowels are like that's it.
Yeah, Heather just said not always.
Yeah, that's good to know. I appreciate that. Thank you. I don't know these things.
Yeah, Heather just said, yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Blood for sure, possible waste.
Yeah, the blood. And that's not just like, I can smell a little bit of blood. I mean, right, we know that. We know that's not just a little bit of blood. That's pretty gross.
No, especially if they say that it was one hell of a battle going on the second floor. Because see, here's what I don't understand. You have the coroner stating that they were all asleep and they were all in their beds, but yet you have Steve Gonzalez saying that there was one hell of a battle going on the second floor, which would be Xana and Ethan's room, and there's just so conflicting statements in the PCA. Like Dylan, like there was one section Dylan says she opened the door for a second time to hear what sounded like Xana crying. And then by a paragraph down it says she opens the door for a third time after what she thought she heard was Xana crying. So which one is it? You open the door for a second time and hear it, or you open the door for a third time and hear it? Well, the third time she opened the door and miraculously she saw the killer walking through the house.
Aww.
And if she could hear Xana crying, why didn't she go and see what was going on?
Yeah.
Why did she just shut her door?
Yeah, that's weird. Well, let's put this scenario. She could, let's imagine that you're in this house in college and everybody's drunk a lot. You know?
Yeah.
Let's imagine everybody drinks a lot, everybody's drinking a bunch. And so I could kind of see not looking, just in case maybe there's a chance that your roommates, you know, do things like that. Maybe they get upset. Maybe your roommates are going to cry sometimes at night or something's weird and you want to ignore it because it's not your business. Right?
Yeah, but even though she says that they were her friends, and she's come out with statements saying that that she wished that she could give them all one last hug and everything else. And just this one statement she came out with, at the memorial service, my people, greatly impacted my life and made me so happy. And that was Dylan's statement, and then Bethany's was that Maddie and Kaylee was like second moms to me.
Yeah, that's interesting. Because they're so young. They're all so young.
Yeah. And here's what I think is funny. She's the coroner, but yet the autopsies didn't take place in Latah County. They took place in Spokane, Washington.
Right? Which is close. What, Robert? That's the closest, large airport.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where the autopsy were done, in Spokane, Washington. Like Heather Fitzgerald just said, Kathy Mabbitt and 3LE from Idaho were there at the autopsies. They don't do autopsies in Latah.
Yeah, because it's not, there's no place to do that at.
All autopsies are done in Spokane from that area.
Correct. I knew that already. Yeah, Spokane's like a small, big town, but it's still the biggest town right there. And it's only 20 minutes, or I bet it's not even 20 minutes away. When I've not driven up there, when I was 19 or whatever, there was one time when I flew up to Spokane from here. It's a 10-minute, it's a 20-minute flight or something.
But where do you think that they're going to be? Because we all know that there's a change of venue coming, and Ann Taylor was talking about either Ada County, Lewiston County, or Boise. But what's his name? Bill Thompson said that he could get a clean jury pool in Latah. He doesn't want to have to travel, and the judge doesn't want to have to travel either. But yet you had Bill Thompson throwing a hissy fit over a jury consultant sending out freaking jury surveys.
Huh. That's interesting.
Yeah, that Edelman guy, the one that you looked up.
Yeah.
Heather says, then Christ Church, they're not going to be allowed on that jury. Is it going to get a clean jury out of 20% of the population?
No, they need to move it to Boise.
Either Boise, Ada, or Lewiston.
No, Boise is Ada.
Oh.
Ada is the county that Boise is in, and Lewiston is not big enough or far enough away. Lewiston is just, it's like Spokane. Actually, Lewiston and Spokane are probably the same distance. This is just me guessing. That's still part of, isn't that still part of the county up there? Still part of Latah County, Lewiston? Or is it is the county below it? Maybe it's the county below it.
Hello.
Oh, it's B Messick.
Yep.
Who's this? Your camera's on, B Messick. Turn your phone down. There you go. Just set it down upside down. Perfect. Oh.
And she's gone.
Dang it.
U of I connected jurors is over 60% of the population. Then Christ Church, what's that percent gonna leave? Bill 20% potential to choose from the whole county.
Yeah, that's not enough. They really, I mean, like, honestly, if they could move it out of state, that'd be good, but they can't. So I don't know. I actually think JJJ is being a DDD because he should be okay with that. He should know that this case shouldn't be there.
Yeah, because this is a high-profile case.
Yeah. And it's not, there's no business having it there. Look how big that courtroom is. You think they should have a death penalty case with 4 people in that courtroom?
No, yeah, you walk into that courtroom, I mean, even Steve G said the same thing. You walk into that courtroom, the courtroom looks like a set on a TV show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Heather, no way he's getting a non-biased jury in 20% that's left to choose from. Nina goes, Heather, Doug Wilson as possible juror.
All right.
Did we get it fixed, B Messick?
B Messick, when you need to change your mic at all, there should be like a little 3 dots in the right-hand corner. Do you see those? And that lets you stop your camera or your microphone in case you want to turn off your camera.
There we go.
Perfect. Okay. But then you need to turn on your mic.
Yep. You muted yourself.
There you go. You're unmuted. Hello, B Messick.
Okay. Heather said that's the reason that Santa read off those 9 survey questions that he took issue with to the public that streamed live to the entire planet.
Oh, that's interesting. That's funny. Every time I try to...
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Imagination. Didn't Harsh Reality say recently that the Kirkers and Ellie are buddies now?
Who are the Kirkers?
I do not know. I do not know who the Kirkers are.
Yeah. B Messick, do you know who the Kirkers are? We have audio issues. I can't hear him, but that's okay. We'll figure it out.
Yeah.
I'm unfamiliar with the Kirkers, or was that a misspelling? I haven't seen Harsh in a long time. Oh, it's Christchurch? Is that the Kirkers are Christchurch?
Oh yeah. Oh wow.
Okay. I guess we could have known that. The followers are called Kirkers?
That's weird.
Yeah, I do like Harsh also, Heather. I just haven't seen him in a long time. I don't know about... I haven't seen many people in a long time. I've been pretty busy. Hi, Sunshine Temptress. Now I see all your mods down here in chat too. Hey, mods.
Hi, mods.
Hey, mods. Love y'all. Kirkers, Yeppers, Nina. I've never heard that before, but we have that. We have like a Christchurch offshoot, whatever it's called. I don't know, church slang, whatever it means. We have that down here. I'm pretty sure. When I was in college, they told us not. I had like my really nice RA told me to stay away from those people, and I was like, yeah, cool. I wasn't going to talk to them anyway. He's like, don't fall for their. It's a cult. I'm like, I know. But I was going to go to it anyways.
Hi, Adam.
Hey, Adam's here. Hey, Adam.
Yeah, Heather says Christchurch is everywhere.
Okay, so it's always a cult on all college campuses, Heather.
Yeah, I mean, have you seen freaking Doug Wilson's No Quarter November video? It's like really, really odd and weird.
Have you ever seen Led Zeppelin's No Quarter video? Just kidding. I just throw us off. No, because that's his No Quarter November means what? What's that mean? What was he trying to prove?
Here, I'll look it up really quick. It's like a really weird video.
Okay, let's watch. Hey, Twizzle Stick. Yeah, I love that song too. Oh, it's probably my favorite song of that band. It's so cool.
Okay, here we go.
Let's see it.
Welcome back to No Quarter November. For 11 months out of the year, I'm notoriously timid, as cautious and as polite as a Southern Baptist raising funds for the ERLC. But the month of November is a time for taking no prisoners and for granting no quarter. If you think of my blog as a shotgun, this is the month when I saw off all my typical careful qualifications and blast away with a double-barreled shorty. Everything we do this month will be focused on one singular goal. We want to help you apocalypse-proof your family. Thank you, honey. So why should you listen to me about such things? Well, when it comes to culture war and culture building, we've been at this for half a century now, much longer than such things have been cool to talk about in the green room at G3.
Super weird, Neil. Super weird.
Yeah.
Like my parents taught me, a strong family isn't possible without quick, full, and honest confession of sin, without any wussy excuse making. And especially now, it's just as important not to confess and repent of things that aren't really sins, because lying is bad and so is being a wuss. Stay tuned all month, because this November, each week we'll have a theme that will guide all our book and content giveaways as we help you get your own family prepped and resilient for the countless cultural curveballs that are just around the corner. We're going to be covering leadership and raising boys, and gratitude, and a whole lot more. It's November, so you better believe that we're here to give away a bunch of stuff.
Wow.
Lovely.
Stick around. Time for pie.
Wow, this is such a strange video. Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah, so basically he was setting fire to Little Mermaid, to Frozen, TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram.
Wow. You know what no quarter means, right?
What?
It means no mercy. It's that there's no mercy, no pity. No quarter. Gave no quarter to the enemy. They're treated in a harsh way. It's there's all sorts of, it's the Geneva Convention. I just looked up the Geneva Convention outlines the term no quarter in military terms. No mercy or clemency will be shown to the enemy, combatants, or civilians. It's just scary.
Yeah, Maven just said Princess represented Disney.
Oh, just Disney altogether.
Yeah.
Wow. What a weird video.
Maven said drone at the end was actually funny.
It was funny. It was really funny. I thought the whole video was funny, and but I mean, still weird.
Heather said to Maven, "That crap is weird to show a burning lady." I'm not going to say the word. I'm not going to say the word she used.
Yeah, a good idea. We'll keep it clean, just in case there's some kids watching.
Twizzlestick said, "Disney is kind of satanic, though. I'm not mad about it."
Oh, Debbie wants to talk about Procta. Have you been watching Karen Reed?
Well, I got Karen Reed pulled up.
You do?
Yeah.
Let's see it.
Who had the video in play? How long did they have it? How was it uploaded? So there are ways to find whether or not it was intentional or not. So they do have to point to that particular element, but the fact that they're raising it, goes to the defense's point about Karen Reed having this confidential cover-up, but it also goes to the fact that, hey, maybe someone was a little bit sloppy and didn't notice that before. So either way, it doesn't really good.
Right. This is a good discussion, all spirited by our viewers who are asking great questions.
Great questions.
Yeah, really good questions. Yep. All right. There's still much more ahead here on Canton Confidential. Coming up, we're answering more of your questions, and our courtroom insider will join the conversation. A reminder, if you have a question for one of our experts, send us an email at canton.confidential@nbcuni.com. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Morgietta de Rigier is back with us again, but so too is Sue O'Connell, our courtroom insider and commentator. Let's continue on with these questions because they've been so good. But first, let's set it up with a clip. Sergeant Buchanan was on the stand for much of this week, and one of our viewers noticed a moment that may have been overlooked by many of us, but we have some visitors. So watch this video. We'll pose a question on the
Maven wants to join for the Karen Reed discussion.
Proctor, you were notified.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm sorry. No, you're not. Sergeant Buknick.
Sergeant Buchanan.
How do I say it?
Buchanan.
I'll give that a shot.
It's fine.
Buchanan?
Yes.
Is that better?
There you go, Maven.
If I screw it up again, please.
Now that we've refreshed your memory on that moment, Rose wants to ask this question. She's very inquisitive. She says, I am no attorney, but do you really think that Attorney Jackson actually called the other witness Proctor by accident? So you've commented on what a showman.
Hey, Maven.
Hey, Maven.
So, what do you think about the whole Karen Reed case, Maven?
Well, the thing that I wanted to point out. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I went back and looked at. Oh wait, I got it. No, I got echo because I still had the YouTube tab going. Okay, so
okay.
That's fixed. So with regard to the video and whether or not the prosecution was, just inept or whether they were doing it on purpose, I went back to the testimony like the day before when they first showed it, right? And there were a couple of things that I was able to notice, and that is when they showed the video, first they asked, I guess we say his name, Buchanan. It's spelled Bukkake, right? But it's pronounced Buchanan. And
Okay.
so they asked him, do you see white? I see white on the taillight. Okay. So right there, they were setting it up for the jury to believe that that was the passenger side and not the driver's side. Because they asked him, what color do you see on the taillight? I see white. All right. That's number one. Number two, they ask him, who is that getting out of the car? Well, that's me. And who's the other guy? That's Proctor. Then when the defense, Proctor. In the
Yeah, you gotta say it. Proctor.
in the car, Proctor got out of the car, or was behind the car.
Yeah.
So when the defense then brought out the fact that it was mirrored, and he admitted on the stand, well, yes, that's the driver's side. Then the defense asked him, so who is that getting out of the car? And I went back to the previous testimony, and I'm telling you, it's the exact same point where he said it was himself and Proctor. Now he says, oh, well, it's the tow truck driver and somebody with the tow truck driver.
What?
His assistant. Yeah.
Oh, the tow driver has an assistant. Okay. Uh-huh.
Right. It's like, it's not law enforcement. It's somebody that works with the tow truck driver. So those are the exact same two people and the exact same point of the video that the day before. I said, like I said, I knew it in my head, but I had to see it. So I went back and I looked and I found it. And sure enough, that's who he identified as himself and Proctor, and then changed it once they admitted that it was the driver's side because it was inverted. And he said it was the tow truck driver. So based on those two things, the fact that he said that, oh, the taillight's white, because they were inferring to the jury that was the passenger side and that was the broken taillight, and that's why it wasn't red. He saw a white light. Now, when he said that, I'm looking at it, I'm going, that doesn't look white to me. It looks like a red taillight. It doesn't even look white. That was my first impression as he said it. But then when all this came out, and it's like, so those are the two things. They did it on purpose. It wasn't an accident.
Wow.
And I think the judge knew it. And where the judge has really been kind of favoring, I don't know, she seems kind of fair in that she sustains and overrules, both sides. But I guess she was leaning towards the prosecution. And I wasn't following it pre-trial, but I guess there was a lot She was acting a lot like Judge Gohl in the Delphi case pre-trial.
Okay.
I don't know. I wasn't watching it then, but that's what I've heard. And
Mhm.
but the look on her face, it looked like she was about to cry when she
Wow.
ended court for the day. They were supposed to go until like 4:30 or something. She says, we're going to end early. Jury, you can leave. She kind of kept it together in front of the jury, but once the jury was out of there, she looked so shook. So I'm real excited to see
Interesting.
what happens Monday morning.
Yeah, that was tomorrow morning is the next court hearing, or the next trial. It's the actual, not court hearings. Wrong trial.
Trial resumes Monday morning, which for you is tomorrow. For me, it's right now. I'm in
Yeah.
Cambodia.
Yeah. It is. It's technically. I'm about 20 minutes from Monday myself.
Okay.
Soon,
So they,
though, maybe.
as Heather says, they are so busted.
Yeah.
That
It's so.
and there's no way. Go ahead.
From what I've watched, because I've watched some of it, because some of it's been sadly to say enjoyable to watch. I watched the gosh, now I'm gonna forget his name. I watched the whole thing with the guy who was like texting her, and he's like reading his text, and he's like question mark.
Brian Higgins. That was
Yes,
Brian
Higgins. I watched all of Higgins'
Yeah.
testimony, and that was so sketchy. How are you going to get away with that? He's like, I broke the memory card, and then I tossed the phone and the card in a dumpster or whatever,
Exactly.
and on the military base. And you go like, you can't do that. Now that's just not. Nobody's falling for that, right? Nobody could possibly be like, that guy's telling the truth. That's what I would do too.
Yeah, who does that when they get, okay, I'm upgrading my phone, or, well, and he says the reason he did it is because he was worried that one of the people, like one of the criminals had gotten a hold of his phone number, so he had to change his number.
Right.
Well, you can number one, you can change your number without changing your phone. Number two, he waited like months before he did it. So if you were that concerned, then why wouldn't you do that like friggin' the next day?
Yeah.
You wouldn't.
Yes.
You wouldn't do it. But on the trash thing, I do want to point out so that we're fair that the area where he lives apparently does not have trash pickup. So people have to take their own trash to the dump or something.
Okay.
So taking the trash somewhere in and of itself isn't necessarily suspicious. But the fact that he's putting them in two different bags, he's putting them in two different dumpsters, whatever, and that he waited so long to do it. That's I think.
My question is this then. Here and any place else I've lived, which is one whole other place, if you put things into someone's dumpster, that's illegal. There's like stickers on the dumpster that are like, you can't dump your trash here. So I've never lived any place that didn't have trash pickup. So in a town like that, is it so small that dumpsters are like, sure, you can bring your trash here? Are people legally allowed to dump there, or are they actually supposed to pay and take it to the dump?
I think they're supposed to pay and go to the dump.
So he did something illegal at that point, basically.
Yeah, I imagine if everybody that has, because he says he goes to the commissary or whatever, he goes to the base, to buy his groceries or to do whatever. My grandmother, when I was little, I used to go to Moffett Field in the Bay Area, south of San Francisco, and we'd go there to the commissary to buy groceries. So I mean, that's kind of a normal thing. But imagine if every single, active duty, retired duty person is dumping their trash.
Right.
No, they have to they have to have a rule about that.
They must. They have to. Yeah, there's no possible way, because there's no way it could handle that much trash. And, you know, I do know in Alaska, where I'm from, you cannot pay this. The trash delivery is local. It's not through the state. So like you could not pay for it, but you would have to definitely pay. You know, maybe you fill a truckload of trash. You know, like maybe you have a make your own dumpster out of plywood, and you keep all your trash in there locked, and then you take it all to the dump when it's full or something. Like that's not uncommon, but the phone.
Well, if it was just one person, that'd be
Right.
something.
Oh,
But it
that
was
is a good point.
You know, everyone except Jen upgraded their phones or got rid of their phone for some reason. You know, and then all the butt dials. If it was one person that had a butt dial, that had one butt dial,
Yeah.
but they all had all these multiple butt dials. No, you know. Oh yeah, Tanel also just mentioned that.
Yeah, the butt dials are off the charts. I mean, I've butt dialed, you know, on occasion, but not for starters. It's kind of hard. It's much harder to do that with a smartphone. It's just not it's a whole different scenario there. A, and then B, come on, like you either say like I'm a total moron. We're all morons around here. Everybody's a moron. Or you say you remember things. Like they're like, oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But they remember
That's so
convenient
old
things.
school. I mean, I don't think you can do butt dials on a smartphone. You know, I've never heard of that. Back with like you had Nokia or whatever. Yes, you know, and that's why people would get Motorola flip phone, because when it's closed, you can't butt dial. But when you have just a standard cell phone, not a smartphone, then yeah, you could do butt dials, and that would cost you a lot of money.
Right. Yes, exactly. Like, or like minutes, or like you'd lose. It's like your fault, so nothing you can do about it.
Yeah, like Twizzle just said, 15 people butt dial everyone on the same night seems legit.
Exactly.
I like what Heather said. Heather said butt dial would be what people that talk out of their bottoms do.
Yes. Yeah, that's a great point, Heather. That's like kind of what's happening there, right? That is what's happening there.
I think German Shepherd attacked him, his arms.
Absolutely. And
Yeah.
that's why they're trying to get the expert not allowed to speak. The prosecution's trying to stop that expert.
Yeah, Debbie says, butt dialing isn't a common thing.
No,
Yeah.
not with.
I mean, nobody keeps their cell phone. My cell phone is gigantic, and it's just like a Google Pixel phone. It's not really gigantic comparably to like the Google Pixel Plus or whatever the bigger phone version is. But it doesn't fit in my back pocket. I'm certainly not going to walk around with it in my back pocket, and I don't accidentally push buttons on it. You know, you have to thumbprint, or you have to that sort of thing. You don't just
Exactly. You have to unlock the phone.
Yeah, Heather just said, plus who runs down their cop boyfriend in another cop's driveway?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. No kidding. Like really kind of
if it's
ridiculous.
planned, that's where I'm going to plan to do it.
Adam says, Siri is more believable than butt dialing.
Agreed. They were like, "Hey Siri," and then they were talking to somebody they know named Siri, and accidentally their phone called someone.
Yeah,
That's me.
that would be more, I mean, it's still doubtful, but it's more believable than a butt dial for sure.
Yeah, for sure. They should all have come up with they are clearly all in cahoots. So they should have just come up with something better together before they decided to go to court. And it's sad how they are all gonna stick to whatever big lie they're telling when it's like real obvious that's not possible.
Heather says, Adam, Siri called them.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, Siri, I don't even have something that listens to Siri in my house. Even when I say it, there's not like a recording in the background like telling me the weather or anything. What about the
Debbie-
red Solo cups? Debbie's asking about the red Solo cups. Let's talk about it.
Yeah. Well, there's two things. I mean, we had a big enough bombshell with the fact that they were red Solo cups. For anyone who doesn't know, that his blood was collected out of the snow in these red Solo cups. that were bought
Oh
from
yeah,
him.
yeah, that's what they were for. I remember now. Now I remember.
So
Is that
that was a bombshell that they even collected them. They weren't sealed. They, there could
Weird.
be contamination. They were put in a bag that was a shopping bag, not an evidence bag. But then the next big bombshell that happened was with the lab lady saying that she just took her 2 swabs from the same cup because she was told that they were all from the same stain. They set her up, man. I think they really set her up.
Oh, big
Heather
time.
said, is that bloody melted snow or is that Fireball and White Claw in your red Solo cup?
Yeah, exactly. Most likely Fireball. Fireball's not red, but you could be like, I like this mixture. I bet you could get a red White Claw for sure, or something that looks red in snow. I mean, if it's already diluted, it's already contaminated anyway. If it's in the snow, you can't scrape it off the top of the snow. Yeah, I'm sure
No.
there's got to be some actual forensic protocol for collecting blood in snow. There's got to be some sort of separation where the blood weighs like a different amount than the water and the snow. You melt the snow and separate the two. But I don't know what were the red Solo cups would have had to be, I was decontaminated. That's not the right word. The red Solo cups would have had to be cleaned out, whatever, ahead of time. Did they just get those out of the kitchen? Were they like, we need red Solo cups? Oh, look, I have some in my car. Like that? Is that from the police department? Were they like, well, where's all our red Solo cups? We need to collect blood.
No, they're across the street from the house where he was found was another law enforcement officer that lived there. So they went to his house and said, hey, do you got something that we can collect some blood samples out of the snow? And he gave them the red Solo cups. And which then the officer said they were in a sealed package. So they should have been cleaned because they were in a sealed package.
Okay. Yeah, that's sad because you'd think they would be clean, like you're going to drink out of it, right? Like people are going to drink out of them. I can think of a lot of times I've used a, red Solo cup, whatever, and I can tell you that I don't remember a time when I washed it out first. So I think I assumed that they were clean out of the package.
Right.
But these people are drinkers. Like, I am blown away by how much they said Karen had to drink. When they were talking about her BAU, like, I was like, is that possible? And then they were saying she had like 7 drinks in an hour and was ordering extra shots to put in her drinks or something. Did you see that?
He said he saw that happening. No, when they paused the video, she just got a shot and she's putting it in her video. I mean, in her video, in her cocktail glass. I'm like looking at it. I'm going, I don't see that.
Well, see, just like Adam just stated, whatever happened to that police department and its corruption has been exposed. Like the cop who destroyed his phone and SIM card. Like what? And then Heather says, are red Solo cups sterile?
Yeah, that was the word I was looking for. They're not. I guess I assume they're sterile because they have to they technically should be like produced in a factory, and then like a massive robot is like producing them and spitting them out and putting them in that plastic bag. Like a human's not touching them in that process.
I would always think that too. However, I will mention that in somebody's chat, like when this all first happened, somebody commented that I used to work at a red Solo cup factory, and I would never use red Solo cups without washing them first. So I don't know give any details about what happens.
Oh, that's good to know. Well, I mean, it's plastic and machinery, so like that probably isn't sanitized every day.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a good point. I'm like, oh, thanks for pointing that out. Oh, gross. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I'm still alive. How about you guys?
Yeah.
I survived not washing out my red Solo cup. But
Remember when we had Dixie cups that were made of paper?
Yep.
And always the you know, the different designs on them, so you pick the ones you like.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I remember being a kid, and in my parents' house would be a stack of those Dixie cups in the bathroom, and my mom would always tell me, use these to wash your mouth out when you brush your teeth.
Yeah.
Just assuming that you were going to brush your teeth.
Yes, like all kids. All kids brush their teeth, don't they?
Remember when the dentist would come to school, elementary school, and they'd give you a free toothbrush and some toothpaste, and then they'd give you the little tablet that you
I
had
love
to
the
chew.
tablet.
Yeah, and then if you didn't brush your teeth, then there'd be spots on your teeth where you didn't brush good.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
I love the tablet.
Heather says, yeah, no, I lean down and drink from the faucet.
Yeah, Mom. We don't need the cups, Mom. We can drink directly out of the sink.
Gives you fluoride.
Yeah. That's the truth. That's funny.
I try to stay away from fluoride for sure. Now I just use mouthwash. Like I'll get Listerine and gargle and then brush my teeth like with the mouthwash because and I make sure that the mouthwash doesn't have fluoride. As Heather said, it's not good
there's
for you.
enough of it. There's enough of it out in society already. You know, that's really funny. I have a funny mouthwash story. You guys want to hear it?
Yeah. Adam says DMT needed.
I ordered mouthwash, a bottle of mouthwash from Amazon, and they accidentally sent me a case.
Oh no!
I kept asking people. I was like, "You guys need some mouthwash?" My friends think I'm joking. I was like, "Do you know how long it takes to go through a bottle of mouthwash? I mean, if I use it, I got it because I was, wanting to keep my mouth clean. But I mean, I got 12 bottles of mouthwash, and it was so funny. I still have 8. I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I kept asking everyone I know, and everybody kept laughing at me. But I'm like, don't you use mouthwash though? Would you like some? Like you could. It's not gonna go bad. It's alcohol content, right? There's got to be alcohol in there someplace.
Yeah, I remember living in this big house. Back at the time I was married to my first wife, which was like 1998, early 99 and late 2000. There's these two old drunks that lived next door to us, and they never had any money to buy beer. So what they always did, they went and bought bottles of mouthwash and got drunk off of bottles of mouthwash, especially
I've heard of that.
Especially Listerine.
Yeah, that's so gross. I don't think I could drink it, like actually swallow it. It seems so alcohol heavy, but I guess I'm not an alcoholic, and so I could totally see that. Yeah. Wow, that's kind of sad.
Heather says, I've heard of people drinking sanitizer.
Oh yeah, we had when they were like short on sanitizer and that sort of thing. Or we had local places making sanitizer, and we have a local place that makes its own alcohol, and they made like a tequila sanitizer. And it smelled so much like booze. It just smelled like booze, but it was gooey. It was funny. I was like, yeah, I guess it was free. It was like 3 bottles of this sanitizer, and it just so happened. I guess if you were really, really hard up, you could drink that. That's so gross.
Debbie had a comment about that she felt bad for those experts, but not the detective. And I felt bad for all of them except for that first lady, the blonde with the longer hair, not the pixie cut girl. I feel sorry for her, and the brown haired girl, but the one that testified first, and she took the swabs of the sleeve, and that's what got me. because everything else I felt like, she collected all the evidence, she collected the hair. Nobody pointed it out to her. She found it herself. She saw the glass on the bumper, all this kind of stuff, right? And I felt like she was set up, okay? But then she talked when the defense, and I would have never guessed to even ask anything about this. And I think they were even shocked at the answers because lawyers always know their answers. But they asked her, well, how did you know, like on the sleeve, which because these were the sleeve and these were the swabs sent to the dog expert, okay? And they already questioned her, who was very above board, and they were really kind of putting the emphasis on the fact, but you don't know how it was collected before it's sent to you. You have all these protocols. You've described these protocols. This is how you do everything, but you don't know how it was handled before you got it. No, she doesn't. So now we know what happened before she got it. Now, she was told there might be dog bites, and so there's some damage. She kept saying the word damage. She would only say damage to the sleeve, and obviously there's clearly holes, which are potentially the dog bites. So you would think you would take the swab and go around the inside of that circle, and then that's your sample. That's what you would think. But she said she just went across the sleeve. And to compound that, then he goes, well, what about the two samples? How do you know which part of the sleeve was one swab and which part was the other swab? How do you know where on the sleeve the samples came from? She goes, oh, no. The two samples were two swabs that I held them together. So those two swabs have now become like one swab. And then she swabbed back and forth across the whole sleeve. She didn't even go around any circles or any stains she just went across from one end of the sleeve to the other end of the sleeve, back and forth. And now she's got what was one swab because she put them together. Now she takes them apart and she's got two swabs to send in. And when she said that, she lost all credibility with me.
Yeah, what? That's silly.
Well, she's just like we all remember seeing the pictures of the stacks of solo cups in 1122 King Road. But I have a question for my guests and the chat. Do you guys think that there was ever any swabs taken from those solo cups, or just like there was that trash can sitting out back the patio door overflowing with trash? Obviously the police didn't give a crap about the trash from 1122 King Road. Do you think that there's like gross mishandling of the crime scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
I agree. I don't think they probably took samples from those red solo cups that were at Idaho 4. And I just want to make a quick mention to Adam, because there's been a thread in the comments. So I'm real sorry about your grandma. There you go.
Yeah, Adam said up here. Adam said, I have a story for everyone. And
grandma got hit by a car.
When I was 12, I was holding my grandma's hand down a boulevard, and all of a sudden a car hit her. She flew 600 feet.
Yeah.
And
she's lucky she lived.
And yet she got right back up. And it's hard to believe he's talking about the officer in the Karen Reed case. It's hard to believe he died from her hitting him with a car.
Yeah.
Yeah, agreed, 100%. I know people who have been hit by cars or like been like some really really horrible accidents and not died. So I don't know. We've seen people on the news who've been hit by cars and not died.
Yeah. Like I was watching Fluffy last night, and it was his special from Hawaii, and the skit was somebody getting hit by a bus in Hawaii, and then them getting up, and he said over in London, he goes, you have the double-decker buses. He said if someone gets hit by one of those, he goes, there would be a news report. Somebody was hit by a double-decker bus. And he imploded on contact. We have the video right now.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, that's like a whole nother ballgame. But you're right, Maven. All those red Solo cups back at the Idaho 4 house are another thing altogether, right, Robert? Like they had all that evidence. There's no way that they only had the amount of evidence they had. Should have been thousands upon the thousand things. Like there was so much junk in the house. It was gross. They weren't clean people. They were college kids. But somebody the other day was talking about all the like junk in the backyard and all that sort of stuff, and I was like, yeah, they're college kids. Like that's not a nice house. You think the people who own it are like, we're gonna remodel the kitchen for y'all? You're gonna crash it in 9 months, you know? No, they're like, this is the cheapest crap we have. Here's the worst fixtures we could find. Here's doorknobs that might turn. Here's all this junk because it's a rental for college kids, and they're good. And we've seen how many times the cops went to that house. They're partying, and when that time, any of the times, they're just partying in the house. I'm sorry, we're jumping between. We're jumping between it. The red stuff.
Well, this is the name of the live stream is True Crime Chat. So
yeah, we're chatting, and we'll just mix them all together. We're like Brian Reed. Because it's so botched. Everything's so botched. It's like, I feel like from what we know, and I hope it's not the actual evidence, from what we know for Brian Koberger, from what we've seen, there doesn't look like there's enough evidence to convict this man. I wouldn't be able to like sit with myself on a trial and be like, here's what evidence I have seen, and yeah, he might have done it. But like, Karen Reed is just as crazy. Like it doesn't even. I mean, she's sitting there with like kind of a scowl on her face, like this is ridiculous. She just looks like she thinks it's ridiculous the whole time.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I'm disappointed, y'all. I know one of my friends from college, and I think I might have talked about to Robert about this. One of my friends from college is our police chief now, or like no, wait, is that the main person? He's the elected official job. Like he's the head of our local police, and he's the guy I know from college. And I would trust that guy with my life. He's like one of the nicest people. And to me, that was like, I was so excited when I saw that he was going to, he's sheriff, he's Ada County Sheriff. I was like, this person is somebody that I know, that I like. I mean, I haven't talked to him in 20 years, but that doesn't mean that he's a different person. He's a good guy. He's a really nice person. But I also know that when you're a police officer, you get socialized into the policing thing. You become a police officer. Everything about you could change because you're in that. You're there. You're one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Just like Heather Fitzgerald just said, no victim DNA found in his car, apartment, office, or parents' home.
Right. Yeah, the car would be there's nothing in the car. There's not even bleach in the car. Like they would have found that, right? Like had he tried to clean up the blood, they would have at least had bleach in the car.
Yeah, this is the inside of the home. This is the kitchen area. As you can see, the sliding glass door. Now see, right there. Hold on, let me go back. The house, it's everyone says it's 1122 King Road. Then how come it sits on Queen Road?
Oh, because you've seen pictures of the house. There's the road is right. It's on the corner.
King Road's down there. The house is here. It's sitting right on Queen Road.
Oh, the lot must go to King Road.
Yeah.
You know, even though it's kind of other buildings have been put there since, the original lot must have
Yeah.
been. Because remember, didn't the president of the university used to live there?
Yeah.
So that
like
house originally had been there a long time, and those other buildings probably hadn't been built yet.
Well, see, according to Scott Green, his dad owned the house back in the late '60s, early '70s, but Scott Green claims that he doesn't have any recollection of ever living in the house.
Right, but the point being that the house had been there longer than a lot of the newer buildings, and
Yeah.
so that they probably had that entire lot, and it was and then they parceled it out later, but their address stayed the same.
Yeah, I mean, look how small the freaking rooms are.
Oh yeah, because then they added on later.
Yeah, that can't be the original house. I looked at it and kind of thought like maybe the bottom floor was a garage, but then I don't think it was. Like,
Well, see, originally it was a single level home. You had the two rooms downstairs, which was what's her name, Bethany's room, and then the other room was the storeroom originally was the garage. And then they went back and made that into a bedroom, and then they built the other 3 layers on top of it. Or the other 2 layers, because you had the first floor, which was in one room, and then a garage, and then you built up for the second level and the third level. And you could tell by the demolition of the house. That house looked like looked like a matchbox.
And you know what I realized?
Like a trailer.
Yeah, what I realized, it looks. She says like a trailer.
It would have been about the size of a mobile home.
Yeah, I actually thought like, here's the deal though, you guys. You guys, Robert, in the area, the country you're in, you have like tornadoes and all these like crazy weather systems. We don't have those here. So we don't. Our code for building houses has got it. Like as far as I know, there'd never been an earthquake here until 2020. I'd never felt an earthquake here in 26 years, and I felt we started having earthquakes in 2020, and it was like very small earthquake, very small. And I think we don't have anything come through here. We don't have anything that's going to destroy our building. So our code is funny like that, because that's when I saw that house fall down. I thought, oh my God, it's like nothing. It looks. Did I build that? I was, like my home. You would think there would be like more 2x4s, more something between the, inside and outside of the house. But it really, honestly, when they tore it down, looked like it was like siding and maybe some sheetrock and then maybe some more sheetrock. It just didn't look like there was any insulation.
I agree.
Yeah.
I was amazed how easily it came down.
Yeah, it's scary. Actually, it was scary how easily it came down, because I bet all the houses up there are built like that. Some of those apartments are 2 and 3 stories. I bet they're 2 stories. I said 3 stories, and I've been there before, and there's probably not a lot of 3-story buildings comparably, or apartment buildings, I mean, around campus. It's a really small town. I would assume that most of the houses and that house, let's see if what's the guy's name who you said lived there? Green? If Green lived there, when he was a kid, that had to have been 40 something years ago, right? How old do we think he is? 50 something? 60 something?
Yeah. Yeah.
So
and if you look at it, they didn't even do it during the daylight. They started tearing that house down way early in the morning.
Yeah.
Because look, it's still dark outside.
Yeah. What was the date of the teardown? Does anybody remember?
December 28th, 2023.
Okay. So they don't have a reason. The only reason they were doing it at night is so that there was not as much publicity, right? Because it's freezing cold there in December.
Yeah.
I mean, northern Idaho.
Perimeter so people can get close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because they even did it that date. They did it over Christmas break too, right? So the kids, so not as many students are there, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, look at that house. Yeah, it's scary, huh? I'm like, whoa, everything just comes right off. Actually, when it goes to the side and just falls down, that was the scary part. Where it just like pulls it to the side and the whole building just crushes. It's like, because roofs weigh quite a bit. You'd think they would have maybe removed that or something, but this is even watching it is sad. I don't understand. I'll never be able to understand the rationalization that tearing the house down makes any sense before the trial. I mean, I don't see any sense made there. I understand when they're like the families and the students and the memories of what happened, all that sort of stuff, but I don't care. I mean, I understand what they're trying to pretend like the reason is, but I don't see that as I can't understand why anybody would have agreed to that. Why the city would have agreed to it is ridiculous to me. And the parents didn't seem to agree with it completely. I think the Chapins were the only people who were like, we're trying to move forward.
No, the only families that disagreed with it was the Gonzalez's and the Kernodles. The Mogans couldn't care less.
Well,
and neither could the Chapins. And the Chapins, well, we just want to move on. But yet, you have crackhead Senator Bill Thompson. His ideal juror, I've said in the past, and he's stated in the past, is a farmer that works in the field for 1,000 hours a day, doesn't have time to watch TV, doesn't have cable, or blah 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 blah. But yet he wants to sit them in the jury box with Oculus glasses on, going through a 3D render of the house.
Yeah. I mean, that you and I looked at that, and it's cool. It's neat to be able to see that, but that's what I want to see when the house is burned to the ground and I don't have a chance to go inside of it, when there's a good reason to tear it down. And it seems to me the best reason was there was some money someplace. Somebody was going to make some money.
Yes, Scott Green is wanting to build low-income apartments for students on that plot of land.
What do you guys think low income in 2024 apartments cost?
Yeah.
I'm just making it wide. I have no idea. I'm just assuming that of an apartment, here, if you wanted to get an okay 2-bedroom apartment, it might cost you $1,500 or $1,600.
Wow.
I don't know how much it is in Moscow. I mean, all of our housing prices are ridiculous. So I don't know what low income means even. Like Section 8, like the government's going to help pay for it. That would make sense. But then the students, I mean,
I honestly think that he's building housing for frats.
Well, I mean,
and sororities.
Sure. That's what the house was being used for anyhow. Like the cop said that. This is off-campus sorority house. Right? The cop said that when they came that one time when Xana came outside.
No, that was when Hunter Johnson was at the door.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah, when they were like, we don't know who we're not trespassing. Except that nobody that lives here is in.
I don't think it was an official sorority house, but I think all the girls there were members of sororities. So in that sense, it was a sorority girl house.
Right.
Not every sorority kind of has a headquarter house.
Right.
And it wasn't that.
Right. And they're right there. I've actually never been in any sorority houses up there. I've been in a couple of the fraternity houses, but I haven't been in the sorority houses, but they're just like the next street over.
Right. Yeah.
You've seen a map of that town, right? Yeah, I was going to say, you've seen a map of that town, right? It's not very big. There are 2 grocery stores, though. There are at least 2 grocery stores.
Someone mentioned that it's more of a tax. If you say that it's low income housing, it gives you a tax break as the builder. And I think anyone would know as well that if it's actually student housing, that students generally aren't working or they're only working part-time, so they would officially be low income. So it would qualify for the builder to designate it that.
Yeah, that makes sense. And then the builder gets whatever. They probably get like tax break. They may even get like the stuff paid for. They might get like the wood paid for, the siding paid for. There may be some like breaks in there where they get government funding for stuff.
Twizzlesticks said basically what they will do is transfer it to other sorority girls the next year, so it will always be a sorority house. And see, Twizzlestick, he lives in that area. He lives near Pullman.
Yeah, that makes sense. That actually does make sense. Where you'd always have like the next, like, because it sounded to me like that house was like per room. Were they renting per room or something? Was that possible?
Nina Kelly said Eagle Investment sold to Cottonwood Development. Both companies are owned by Steve Weeks.
Yeah.
And that's the guy involved with drugs, right?
What? Is the guy who what?
Is that the guy that's involved with drugs?
Well, I don't know. Is Steve Weeks involved with drugs? You guys, what'd you pull up? Am I missing something?
Nina says the house increased in value nearly doubled in under a year. After the murders, that house increased in value.
Yeah, so did mine. The same time frame. No, that was a normal happening of how the housing market. That's what happened all over Idaho, and I assumed it kind of happened all over the country.
Twizzlestick said that's what all my sorority friends did here.
Yeah, that would make sense. Yeah, where you like that makes total sense to me up there, because like, they said that before the women had lived there. It had always been guys.
Yeah, at one point it was all guys.
Or at least I heard that from Enon Harsh video. He said that, right? He's the one who said it used to be all guys.
Yeah, Heather Fitzgerald said it doubled to 400,000.
Yeah, in my house too. Mine quadrupled in like a year and a half. I thought it was the housing market. So we have to take that to the side too, right?
Yeah.
That could just be the housing market.
Nina said development contracts for Greek living expansion strategy for properties. Yeah, according to Nina, the murders increased the value up to 57%.
Wow. Well, I can tell you that that's funny, you guys, and just to compare it, my house is worth 3 times as much as when I paid for it, and when we went right before 2019. There is that also. I don't have some nice house. I have like a really basic. I have a 1-bedroom home, so like, there's no reason for my home to be valued, in my opinion, as what it is. But that is the housing market. Did that not happen across the whole country? You guys, houses didn't like quadruple all over the place?
Twizzlestick said that COVID destroyed the housing market.
Yeah, for sure. And you know what? I know still, and again, this is just going to be an Idaho thing, maybe. Yeah. I know recently, and I just looked today, it said 26 houses were for sale in the market, in my market, whatever, in my area, in the last month, and they all sold. And I don't know what that means in the bigger scheme, because it's in just like one neighborhood, but like, I don't know. I thought that happened every place. I thought the housing market went crazy every place. But I do know that a lot of my friends that work in real estate or anything to do with real estate have told me that the housing market is completely unpredictable now. It's like they don't have any way of predicting how much people will buy something for or how much things are going to sell for anymore, really, because the housing market's just all over the place. And I bet Quiz is right that it totally began in 20.
Yeah, look at that. It's like made out of plywood.
Yeah, and there's no insulation. No insulation. Like, look in the roof. Even when they pull the roof off, there should be insulation. There's nothing.
No, the only insulation I see right there is see that powdery stuff right there?
The yellow, yeah.
So,
no, that
and
yellow
I think
stuff.
It's kind of a white cottony thing, but not like the pink, not like rolls of insulation that is normally used.
Right.
It's just loose, fluffy stuff.
We have a lot. Yeah. They have a lot. Like insulation in my attic is all recycled paper or something. Like I had to blow it in. So I think it would look like there was no insulation. If you cut through the roof of my house, it would probably look like there was no insulation because there's none of the pink stuff or yellow stuff. That's like what we think of as the huge roll insulation. But and there's no quality to that home because they weren't like, we're going to live here forever and it's going to be beautiful and we're going to give it to our kids. So they don't care. They don't care if the people are, there are value is too.
Yeah. Now, have you seen the latest interview with Ashland Couch?
No. Let's watch it. You haven't seen it, Maven? Let's watch it. It's short. It's very awkward because she's like a young woman. She's an awkward young woman, or she's in an awkward place young woman. Maybe she's not awkward, but it is weird that she would talk now, isn't it? Is it weird that she came forward now? What's the kickoff for that? What do you think made her want to talk now?
Very good question.
I have no idea. I haven't seen the video. Were we going to play it or?
Yeah, we're going to play it.
Robert, there you go.
For the first time, a young woman who once lived with Madison Mogen and Kaylee Gonsalves is sharing a promise to her roommates who were murdered in their Moscow home. She says it's taken time for her to process her grief after her friends were killed.
Now, with the help of her mom, she's building a foundation to promote safety for college students. It's an exclusive interview with our Hunter Bertram. And Hunter, she also told you about the last words between this group of friends.
That's right, Derek. Are you okay? That's the last text Ashlyn Couch sent to Madison Mogen the day of the murders. It's not easy for her to talk about, but she agreed to this interview because she says it's time to change the focus of the murders.
I want to know what time she sent it.
An infectious smile, cheek to cheek. That's Kaylee Gonsalves. Madison Mogen, a friend you'd hope to meet.
You know, Maddie and Kaylee were so close that they were more like sisters.
Inseparable sisters, even in their final moments. Ethan Chapin, Xana Kernodle, Kaylee Gonsalves, and Madison Mogen. The names of 4 college students stabbed to death in Moscow, Idaho. But before the unthinkable shook this college town, 6 University of Idaho students moved into their first off-campus home, including Ashlyn Couch.
I mean, it's such an exciting time in your life because you're moving out and you're actually in just like a home by yourself. And one thing is that we were all so close.
This is the first time Ashlyn has agreed to an on-camera interview since her former roommates were murdered on King Road. Ashlyn Couch lived at the house with Kaylee and Madison, 2 of the 4 students murdered in November of 2022. Ashlyn had graduated almost a year before in December of 2021.
I actually moved out May of 2022 and then Xana did take over my lease, yeah.
6 months later, she received a message, one that's burned into memory, a text from the University of Idaho alerting her of a suspected homicide on King Road.
I remember, I think, getting a second alert, or I had been driving home and I texted like our group of friends and I just had said, has anyone heard from Maddie? And I remember like my last text message to her was like, are you okay? And I feel like right then and there I kind of just knew that something was wrong.
The reality still haunts her. A gruesome tragedy took place in the house she called home, in her old room, and she could have been there. Her name was still on the lease of 1122 King Road.
It crosses my mind more that that could have happened while I was there. And you know, you never know like how long someone is watching your house.
The vibrant, once full of life house, gone.
Yeah, our life's been a little more quiet. Sorry.
It's taken time for this mom and daughter to process their grief.
They say that time heals all wounds, but that is not true.
More than a year after their deaths, they are making a promise to the roommates taken too soon.
I want to do more. I want to, you know, spread some kind of message and start something, help people, you know, just do something more with this life that we are grateful to still be living.
Ashlyn plans to raise awareness through the Made with Kindness Foundation about what happened and educate students on social media safety. The goal is to impact every student worldwide and to be cautious, even when college can seem so carefree.
Horrible people are going to do what they're going to do. It's not anything that they could have done, and they absolutely did nothing wrong. Have people look at this and look at their name too in a positive light.
Forever and always, Maddie and Kaylee will be with Ashlyn, spreading kindness through her beating heart as Ashlyn keeps her promise and new life mission to keep this from happening again.
I mean, I couldn't even walk to my car in the dark for months after, you know, it happened. Like, you just want to at least feel a little bit safer. And if we can help college students do that and just create more awareness upon that and just help them feel a little.
Here's what I don't get. She doesn't even live in the same state. When she moved out, she moved to a different state.
Yeah.
So why would you be afraid of walking to your car after dark if you don't live in the same state?
Yeah.
I think that's just meaning in general that like she realizes that anybody can be watching you anytime, anywhere. I mean, for me, that makes sense. That like knowing you came so close from her perspective, that you realize, okay, that happened in Idaho, but it could also happen somewhere else just as easily.
Yeah. Is that my microphone that's making that sound? Yeah. Hold on. Yeah, I'm just being loud.
Heather says she moved out a month prior to Kaylee Gonzalez. At least that's my understanding.
So she's not really the other roommate.
No, she's the other roommate. Yeah, your phone died. Yeah, because it states that her name was still on the lease.
It took place in the house she called home, in her old room, and she could have been there. Her name was still on the lease of 1122 King Road.
It crosses my mind more that that could have happened while I was there. And you know, you never know like how long someone is watching your house.
The vibrant, once full of life house, gone.
Yeah, our life's been a little more quiet.
What did the mom mean by, yeah, now our life's been a little bit more quiet?
Oh, because they were so full of life when they were alive,
Yeah.
I guess. But Heather made a good point about the timing. We started this with the timing. Why did she come out and say this? She said it was right after Bill Thompson was making an uproar about, oh no, we never said there was any stalking. Because her whole foundation and everything is about people stalking you on social media. So she's bringing back and keeping the stalking idea, even though Bill Thompson was saying there's no stalking.
Yeah, she gave this interview and said that stuff after Bill Thompson called uproar about there was no stalking.
All right.
And yet the people that think
It's
that
taken time for this mom and
Brian
daughter.
is guilty, the people that think that Brian was guilty still hang on to that stalking. That, you know,
Yeah.
they completely discount that he said there was no stalking. They go back to but there was pings that he was there 12 times before and everything, which I think was him just got on his way to the Mad Greek restaurant to eat his vegan food.
Yeah, see, even the FBI has came out and stated that, a lot of those pings that they're saying was around the house, wasn't even in the vicinity of the house. It was some of those pings were in Moscow, not around the house.
Exactly. So there's nothing that places him at the house. I mean, because the sheath is like so. I don't trust the sheath. So if you take that out, there's nothing that places him at that house.
Yeah. There's
What I've seen.
Yeah, there's without the sheath, there's no motive. Without the IgG, there's no motive. Without the sheath and the IgG, there's no motive. There's no connection. And I was watching a live earlier today, and they said that Wawai Park, there's no cell service. So if he was at Wawai Park, then there was no cell service. So that's why his phone didn't come back on line until almost 5 something in the morning, because if he was at Wawai Park, then say from 1:30 to 1:30 to 5, because he does like to hike, he does like to run. He's went to Wawai Park to do that before. He's went to run and hike and stargaze. So if he was actually at Wawai Park for say 4 hours and there's no cell service there, then that would explain his phone not being on the network until well after 5 in the morning.
Well, and all he needed to do was take a picture of something while he was there, and you'd have the timestamp on the picture without any phone pings.
And he's taken pictures from Wawai Park. He's taken pictures of the sky from Wawai Park.
Well, I have a question about that, and like maybe Twiz can help us. I would assume that it's winter up there. There's snow on the ground, and do they like plow the running trail? Because here,
I can't hear you.
You can't
Are
hear
you
me?
not close to the microphone?
I'm not close. Am I not close enough to the microphone?
I can hear you a little better. Yeah.
Okay. Maybe I switched over to my iPad and it doesn't. I don't think it works nearly as well. I think that. I think I was wondering if there's like snow on the ground. There's clearly snow everywhere, right? Do they plow the running area in the park? Because when the wintertime here snows, I can't go hiking where I go hiking because there's too much snow. So, and it's like outside nature area. So, like, I don't know. I could go on a sidewalk. If I was a runner, I could go run on the sidewalk, but I couldn't go running in the foothills. I couldn't go running in the mountains. I can't imagine they plow Wawa Park. I don't even know how to pronounce that. But like that, I'd love to know.
Twizzlestick just answered your question.
We did.
I don't know if there was any snow on the ground that night, but if you watch the Grub Truck vids and stuff, there's not much on the ground.
True. But what about in that park? How much higher in elevation is it?
But we have no idea what we would be doing there.
They are far enough apart that it could be snowing there and not snowing in Moscow.
Right. That's what I mean. Like what's the elevation? I go towards Moscow, and there's like mountains between here and there, and then you go through a lot of farmland, and then you get there, and then there's more mountains right past it. So I don't know what the snow looks like. What are the snow levels? That to me seems sketchy, but I've never been able to. I've never talked to anybody who's there during that time. Was it possible for him to actually go gun in Wawa Park in November?
Heather says, by the time the white car does a 3-point turn at King and Queen intersection, the entire car would have been captured on the on the 1112 camera.
Oh, it's lower in elevation. Gotcha.
How could the FBI expert call it a Nissan, then 11 to 13 Elantra, then 11 to 16 Elantra? I used recent collision claims. Yeah, right. I used to rent collision claims, auto collision. There's no way that somebody that works looking at cars and identifying them would misidentify it after having the entire car captured.
Yeah.
Oh, she goes, right claims, not rent.
Yeah. I mean, it's crazy. The whole thing is crazy. I don't get it. I don't believe anything they tell us anymore. The PCA is not real. All the stuff. It's just so outlandish, every answer. Like, at the same time, if you asked me what I was doing at like 3 o'clock in the morning, driving around, I think I'd be able to come up with a better answer. But maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't do that. I know I've talked to a lot of people who do that.
Yeah, Twizzlestick says, I think the car by the house is an 11 to 13. They have a 14 to 16 somewhere else.
Yeah, that's funny because those cars, all those white sedans all look the same. Oh, they look so much the same that it was unrelenting to continue to see them, and like all the channels that overlaid them, and like it could be this car. It really could be any of them. Didn't it look like any of those cars? They all look the same. Like
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I honestly think it's the car that's being captured on Linda Lane. I think it's the undercover cop car.
Right? just turning around. Was that a Dodge Neon?
Yeah.
Just kidding.
Heather Fitzgerald says, think about coming down Queen to King and doing that 3-point turn, then passing by the 11, passing by the home. It would have been captured, on the 1112 King Road home, but it wasn't. Even Brett Payton had to admit at the court hearing that Brian's car was not captured anywhere on video.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just don't see, not seeing it that as like a comprehensive thing. And don't you think there has to be cameras? There has to be so many more cameras of that car. I'd like to see that car, if that's Brian's car, I'd like to see the camera view of it passing every single camera it passed on the way from Pullman and on the way back.
Yeah, and they looked for video for it going down the direction that they said he traveled down, and they could not find no video evidence at all of Brian's car in the path that they said he traveled. Like none, no video evidence. Like they didn't see his car anywhere. And then Brett Payne was like, oh, well, maybe he drove a route that didn't have any cameras.
Well, that's the northern road, right? That's the other road. I only know, I think is it 95? If I go to Moscow, I take the Highway 55 all the way there, and then I take it all the way back.
Yeah, they were saying that he took 95 south.
Yeah. Yeah, 95
but
through Washington.
But yet they couldn't see his car anywhere on any videos along the 95 south.
Yeah, and you know what? I mean, there's so many. I love all the possibilities, and I like to insert Enon Harsh in here. But what about that?
Yeah.
It's like one of the things, his mom lives around the corner or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that another thing to back that way? There's houses, they don't have any. I could see that. I could actually see that the house is not having cameras, because I think that there would be probably older homes on land where they're not pushed up against the highway. But the highway doesn't have cameras? That's weird. Nothing?
Yeah, because they were looking at a smoke shop and someplace else, going down by 95 south, and they couldn't see his car anywhere, on the cameras at these two spots.
Last time I went through Genesee, which is the little town that's right next to it, Genesee didn't even have stoplights.
Heather says, I cannot hear you, Sophie.
Can you guys hear me? Maven?
Yeah,
Robert?
I can hear you.
Maven, can you hear me?
Sophie,
right now, as you're speaking, just a little bit, but before when you were speaking, it was really, really hard to hear.
Yeah, Twiz, I agree with you. I'm on StreamYard on my iPad, and it won't let me change the audio. Maybe I dropped down. My phone's at back a little bit better battery. Let's try it. I'll try to come back in on my phone, because it gives me that option, but for some reason on my iPad, when I hit the mic and the audio options, it just says connect external mic, and then it has iPad.
Oh, Nina with the bombs tonight. Heather, what about Aiden Barnhart's stepbrother, Lake Campbell? His frat brother is Steve Gonzalez Jr. And best friend is Jake.
Ooh, interesting. You continue. I'm gonna switch you guys. I'm gonna stay here. I'm gonna drop down and come back in on my phone.
Okay.
Okay.
Somehow.
Wow. That, yeah. And Twist goes, she sure did. That's something. So, Steve G's son, Steve G's son is a frat brother to Aiden Barnhart's stepbrother, Lake Campbell, and best friend is Jake. Now, Nina, is it Jake Schrager, Maddie's ex? Well, now ex. Lake's stepmom posted that Lake moved out of 1122 5 months before the murders. Aiden Barnhart's best friend is Emma Bailey. Hello. Is that better?
Hello. I think it's better. What do you guys think?
Oh my
Okay.
goodness. Yes.
It's super funny because StreamYard on my phone is so much easier. It has all the right, I know where all the things are. I can check my microphone before I come in, but it didn't even let me do it on the iPad app. And I don't know why. I guess I don't really use StreamYard normally on there.
Okay, Lake Campbell, or I don't know if Lake's stepmom posted that Lake moved out of 1122 5 months before the murders. Aiden Barnhart's best friend is Emma Bailey.
What? Oh, who? There's a sketchy person.
Yep.
Yeah.
Aiden and Emma. Okay. Aiden and Emma visited Lake at 1122.
Yeah.
Twizzle stick. I wonder if they had frat and sorority in the same house.
Oh. Well, it sounded to me before like it was like all boys, and now it's all girls. But
Yeah.
that doesn't mean that there was not like Xana and Ethan were in there, and they are in a frat and a sorority. So I mean,
Yeah.
there's that sort of thing. But I don't know which one of them is on the lease. Just Xana.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, like Ethan was the boyfriend. I don't know if he paid rent. You know, there's a possibility that is that where he resided? Did he technically live there, or did he live at the frat house?
Well, from what I've heard, is that he was kicked out of the frat, but it was only for like 2 weeks, and he was supposed to be going back to the frat around the time he got murdered. About a week after the murders, he was supposed to have gone back to the frat.
Yeah, I heard that too. But I've never heard of Steve Gonzalez Jr.
Me neither.
I'd never
Yeah.
heard of a son.
I think
Heather just said he was on academic suspension because his GPA was too low.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, that's sad because that's like, I think this policy is like you have to have, and I actually thought when you were in a Greek house, whatever, you would have to keep it at like a even like higher standard of GPA. I would think that. I would think they would expect that of you. But I mean, when you get drunk every day, it's kind of hard to go to college, you know?
Yeah, Heather just said no one ever talks about Steve Gonzalez Jr.
Yeah, I've never heard that name, you guys. I have no idea who that is.
Nina just said, Robert, sending you a pic on Discord.
All right, let's see it. I love Nina just so much. She got so much stuff. She knows so many things.
I just text her. Steve G. Jr. was enrolled in U of I too.
Oh, and then KG are set to graduate the same time, basically. So, how do we know of anything about Steve G. Jr.? That I really have you either of you guys ever heard anything about her having a brother? Oh wait, that's the brother? Is that the brother we see with Olivia? We've seen interviews. Okay, that's Steve G. Jr. Okay.
So when he was talking about Jack Decor, I'd like to know what he said.
I cannot. I'm gonna have a hard time until we get to trial ever believing only one person could have done this. That's all. Like, how could only one person have done this? And at the same time, if there's no leaks, if there's no gossip all over that entire town of who did it, then maybe only one person did it, you know? Because then the only person that knows is them. All right. So, which one is he? The boy on the right, or the one with the backwards hat on? Are these all their children? Are all four of these kids their kids? I don't recognize either of the girls. So.
That's not Steve Goncalves.
But which one of these is him, Nina?
Oh, she's just showing right here. Frat life. Now, tell me which one is Emma Bailey?
Oh, I don't see Emma Bailey in this photo. Is she in this photo?
I think she's the one in the red.
Well, she's got to be. Yeah, that's got to be her, because the other girl is definitely not her with that long blonde hair.
Yeah, because I think these 1, 2, 3, 4. I think these 5 guys were original people in the house before the girls moved in.
Oh, it is Emma, and that's 8. Okay, so that's Aiden on the right. Gotcha. All right.
Heather says first pick, go back.
Oh, that's the picture of, that's Emma. That looks like Emma to me on the left, huh? Or on the right. Oh God, they both kind of do.
So that's Emma. That's got, yeah.
Oh, they're like little kids. Oh yeah, I would have a hard time being giving a good distinction between these two ladies, only because they don't look that different, which is one of Nina's points. Yeah?
Heather just said, does anyone think Lake looks a little bit like Saeed on Banfield footage? I think she's talking about the one in the blue. Over here was not the one with the backwards cap, but the other one.
Look at that hair. Kid's got a lot of hair. I guess so. He does kind of look like Saeed. I see that.
Nina just said that Demetrius is in this picture. Right there. The one in the pink.
Well, that would make sense that he's holding Emma Bailey.
And she just sent me this one too. Oh, it's a screenshot. It's so scary what's going on at all campuses. TMAU has this serial sexual assaulter. I remember when the scary part about college was making grades. So incredibly sad for our kiddos. The exact rental house is where my stepson lived. That's Cindy Nelson Barnhart. He moved out not even 5 months ago to move to Boise. He knows all the girls pretty well, especially the two Pi-Pis. His buddy Jake was dating Maddie. So Jake Schreiger was dating Maddie.
Not
and
Jake.
his huh?
Oh, okay. I'm thinking
No.
Kaylee was Dr. Core. Okay.
The same first names, yeah.
His buddy Jake was dating Maddie, and his AKL bro Steve is Kaylee's brother. Both girls worked at Mad Greek, which is a popular restaurant here, and my daughter worked there a couple of years ago. And finally, that house is no more than 3 minutes walk distance from my office on campus. I mention all of this just to reiterate how closely everyone is really connected. This violence has to stop. What violence is she talking about?
Well, yeah,
Well,
that's interesting. Yeah.
Because it's not just the one incident. If she's saying it's like there's some, and didn't she say something about a serial killer?
Serial rapist.
Serial rapist? Who was she talking about for that? Because that's
I don't
not.
know.
Yeah, we haven't heard about that in the area. But I wonder if they caught whoever that was or if that's still happening. That's super scary.
Yeah.
Yeah. All these folks are crazy. It's so hard. I know I've said this before. It is so hard for me to comprehend what it must be like to be a 19 or 20-year-old person right now in that sort of environment, because that's not, I mean, we drank a lot of alcohol up there, and to me, I just assume it's all the same. It's all the exact same it was, where everybody was just drinking like every night. I don't know how anybody passed school. So I know historically, Moscow and Pullman are known for being like big Greek schools and also big drinking schools. You know, when they talk about like, we're all going to Lake Havasu. Lake Havasu is where everybody goes and has summer and gets drunk. That's like how it's perceived both those colleges are.
Yeah.
So maybe there's just violence involved in that.
Heather says, I even keep track of Moscow and Pullman blotters, LOLs. Twizzles, not Heather again. The interview with Steve G. Jr., Olivia, it seems not to agree with his sister and his father, and stop talking if you really pay attention.
Yeah, he did. He kind of clammed up. I did notice.
All right,
That's why I didn't remember what his name was.
We've been live for 3 hours.
We have. We should go. Are we tired?
Yeah, I'm a little tired.
Maven, I had so much fun chatting with you. I hope I get to come hang out with you guys again soon.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah. I always have fun with Robert. He knows that.
Yeah.
Good night, chat. Good night, Maven. Good night, Robert.
All right.
Okay, good night, everybody.
Good night. Hey, I'll meet you in voice, Sophie.
Okay.
All right. You guys have a good night. And Maven, before we go, do you want to say anything about your channel or what you have coming up, or if you have any?
Sure. I usually go live on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So we're coming up here for Tuesday. I'm going to be doing Gen X on Tuesday. We play games, have fun. All generations are welcome to have fun talking about Gen X. And then I'll do my true crime on Wednesday. And then I've got a travel vlog on Thursday of Yellowstone National Park. My mom went there, and so she sent me the pictures, so we'll be doing a travel vlog. So that's what I've got lined up this week. And my channel's right there under my name, The Maven 2017.
Hey, mods, can we get the Maven's channel dropped in the live chat, please?
Yeah, and also that would be 10 a.m. Eastern, so you can figure out your time zone from there.
All right. Well, everyone have a good night, and I'm gonna be dropping some more content sometime this week. I've been kind of tuned out of YouTube. Been having fun with my daughter, and I've also been playing NBA 2K24. So everyone have a good night, and this is TCC, Sophie, and the Maven are out.